Welcome to another edition of the Royal Alliance UK podcast. My name's Matthew Turner. I'm joined by my co-host Ryan McCluskey for episode number 64, The Lukes of Hazzard. Also joined by special guest Luke G from Luke G's Field Reviews. How you doing, boys?
Hey, what's going on? Listen, first of all, this is the furthest I ever traveled, and I don't care if it's digital, but I'm here for it, and I'm loving it. So, shout out to the UK, because I'm beyond like excited to do this. I see Ryan came football ready, so that's good. I hope everybody in the chat came football ready. If you are already in here and you have not hit that like button, I want you to hawk smash it, and then I want you to boomerang it back around. Go to your fake account and hit it again. Don't leave us out to dry, okay, people? Make sure you get that done correctly.
How you doing, Ryan, man? You right?
I'm good, yeah. I can't match that interaction. Like I say, anyone with burner account that wants to trash us, instead just go like, share, retweet, and go check out Luke G's Field Reviews as well. Like I say, we're all here. Like I say, we're good to go.
100%.
Just to start off, just like to draw everyone's attention to the reviews that we've been doing for our draftees. So on Saturday, me and Ant took a look at Jamar Jefferson and Derek Barnes. We put some tape up, we broke it down over a couple of games, some highlights. Go and check that out on our YouTube channel. Let's start with a little bit from Luke. Why don't you just introduce yourself to some of our UK listeners who may not have seen you before?
Well, first things first, my name is Luke. I'm from Luke G's Field Review. I'm a diehard Lions fan. I really am. I happen to like three teams. I know people think it's absolutely crazy, but as a kid, I grew up strange, and I tend to pick teams who were not so good, but I knew would get better one day. So the Lions was one of them, the Bucks were another, and the Seahawks were one. They were all bottom feeders when I fell in love with them. On my channel, what I do is I talk about everything Detroit Lions. I do film study. I go live pretty much every day from 5 o'clock to, I probably do about an hour and a half, 2 hour show, where you can ask me questions and have fun, but it's all in the midst of fun. And then on top of that, I will literally collaborate with anybody. That includes you, the subscriber. Even if you reach out to me on Twitter and say to me, Luke, I think you're crazy and I don't like what you're talking about, I'll go, great, let's come on and talk about it. So I'm a ball of joy, and I think if you tune in and subscribe, you will definitely 100% love what you do. Because the difference between me and most people is they report what's happening. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And it usually ages well. So just saying.
I think one thing just from like really hammering your videos in the last couple of weeks is just your laugh. You know, I watch your videos and I come away smiling. I may not agree with everything you say, but I'm happier after having watched it. So this was really great.
Man, that's awesome. I have so much fun doing this. And yes, I laugh at a lot of stuff because some things are just funny, and some of the people who watch us and the subscribers, they are so awesome. Like it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, I get a kick out of it, and I definitely gonna have fun with it. But yeah, you're gonna hear me laugh on here today. As soon as somebody says something crazy, I'm gonna be like, okay, so we doing this. We really doing this. Okay, well, let's do it then. You know, so that's just how I am. So it's you know, make sure you have fun. It's football. If you can't have fun talking about football, then like, what else can you do?
Absolutely. Just a message from Dan on Twitch. Just awesome to have you here. He's one of our listeners. Obviously, you've got a load of guys in the YouTube chat, all from Luke G's channel. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. Really appreciate you. We're going to start off with some news, and then we're just going to go into an interview chat with Luke for the rest of the pod. Not a lot of news has happened in the last 7 days, but we're going to break it down anyway. So Dan Campbell, his quote's probably the biggest news of the week. Apparently, according to Mike Silver on Twitter, he told his players day one that he was going to treat them like men and not wipe their own butt for them. Guys, is this approach going to allow some acting out because he's not the disciplinarian that we're used to here, or is he just treating the guys with respect? Do you think there's going to be a better working environment because of this sort of thing, or is it just a cheap throwaway comment that someone's put on Twitter? Luke, what do you think, man?
First of all, I mean, if you just follow what he's been saying from the get-go, he's been 100% emphatic about making sure that it's clear to not only his current team, but any free agents that's out there, any people on other teams coming up on contract years. What you saw happen with Matt Patricia is not happening with this team. Do not think that what you saw in terms of that attitude is going to bleed over into what we're doing here now. You're grown, and I'm going to treat you as such. I'm going to act as if though you are an actual adult and expect you to do adult things. The problem that I think that it's going to always come into play with this approach is most adults don't do adult things. And so the question is going to become, what is Dan Campbell going to do when you have people who, as he said, are being turds, right? And if they're being turds, you definitely want to make sure that you have an action in play to discipline them when they're making these mistakes. But regardless of that, I just think that overall he's not joking when he says this. You're going to be held accountable because that's what you're supposed to do. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, you won't be a part of this team. And that's how it should be.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Totally agree. I don't understand why everyone's making such a big deal of this. I moved out at 18. Like, that's the moment my ass stopped being wiped. Like, I was a man.
Hang on. So 17, what happened?
Like, it's not a football reference though, is it? It's life, innit? Like, these kids are like 20, 21. Their asses stopped getting wiped a long time ago. Like, they're not children. They weren't children in college. Like, they're grown up. They're men. Like you say, he's laying down the law strict. He doesn't want any carrying on, no childish antics, and I'm all for it. Like you say, I think he'll be strict with the punishments. If anyone acts up or carries on in a game week, brings a curfew, they won't be on that plane. They won't be flying. They won't be in the game day roster. Like, he's not going to take any of that crap. And like you say, he's treating him like he's their father. And that means some tough love. You've got to bring a bit of discipline. And that's fine by me. If he turned around and wasn't that bothered, I'd be more worried.
Yeah, I completely agree. Some of the guys in the chat absolutely agreeing as well. One Funky Lions fan who I know is active in your chat, Luke, he just said he's going to be a disciplinary, but he's not going to be a tool about it, which is, I think, exactly what's needed, right? He's going to be there. He's going to tell them what's what. He's not going to do it for him, but he's not going to just hate you for no reason like Darius Slay, shall we say, who got hounded out of this place. And, you know, just because maybe it was the right time for him to go, we know that he's not been that good at the Eagles since he left and he wanted a lot of money. It was the right time for Slay to go, but he deserved better than that. He deserved to go the same way Stafford did. He did so much for this city.
That's facts.
And,
That's facts.
you know, the finger wag is still iconic, even now, and he's been gone a few years. What does that tell you about Patricia and Slay? Man, it's just rubbish. So, long may this all continue. People say you can't judge the coaching staff and the front office team until they've had some, you know, games and plays on the field and whatever. But you know what? You can judge them by what they've done so far. And so far, it's an A. Now, if they start losing games, that goes down. But could they have done better than what they've done so far? I don't think so. Anyway. Just
no, I mean, listen, I think what you said is right on the money. And I think what you're saying is right where it should be. If you're talking about, like, let's be honest, you tried to replace Slade with Desmond Trufant, and it was a fail. And I for one, was one of the first people to say, is he gonna make it through the season? And people was like, oh, he didn't get hurt. And I'm like, but he will, and he has, and I know he has. And you can say what you want. He's not out of ATO because he was just phenomenal player. No, he has some concerns. And so, no, I think what you said is right on. You know, like, I think it's spot on to where it should be. And I think, one, it's crazy that you have that perspective and not even being in like the super loop of it all. But that's the best part of it. To where anybody can look at it and say to themselves, look, this is what it should be. Hold yourself accountable. No one should be forced to hold your hand through this process. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Couple more bits of news. So first off, apparently Jared Goff is out in LA teaching Amon-Ra how to play like Cooper Kupp. They're developing some chemistry in the off season, teaching him a few little things that he does in his routes, or, you know, little mannerisms, and just trying to get to know each other better. I had heard, now I don't know who told me this, that there was a quote from Reggie Bush when he joined the Lions in 2013, that he came along to the facility and said, when are we all getting together and, you know, trying out some things? And apparently Stafford turned to him and said, oh, don't worry about it. We don't do that here. Just show up at camp. We'll get it all together then. And then maybe we'll do some stuff then. And he was shocked about the fact that what seemed to happen elsewhere in the league didn't quite happen as much here. Now, someone has since pointed out to me that obviously Stafford did do some off-season stuff with players on his own. But I think the argument might be made that he didn't do it as much, and he kind of likes the sort of private life, stay at home, take care of the family, and that sort of thing. He's got a big family, and he needs the time with them. And with what's happened to Kelly, I wouldn't blame him at all for absolutely doing that. But for me, it's really encouraging that Goff, coming into a new system, doesn't know anyone apart from some of the front office guys, is taking extra time to build the chemistry with the guys out here. Because if he's going to succeed, and it's going to be a hard one for him to succeed in year one with all the new stuff that's going on, that he's giving himself the best chance. Ryan, what do you think, man?
I think it's safe to say if Jared Goff was not working out with the receivers right now, that would be a recipe for disaster. Like you say, he's coming into a new system with brand new guys. He doesn't know their timings. He doesn't know what their tendencies are, when they're going to break on the routes. Like, you've got to learn this thing. He needs to know and expect what his receivers are going to do, because he has got to get timing on, like say, like a slant route. You've got to know when to fire that dime in and expect them to be there. So they've got to work, like you say, their asses off, like I say. And I'm great that they've mentioned Cooper Kupp, because he's ridiculously underrated. He's a smaller, more nimble guy who works well after the catch. That's someone that Amon-Ra should really be basing his game off right now. And if Goff sees those kind of potential in him, that's great. But I understand, like say, with Stafford, like he didn't always do it as much. He'd expect guys to get towards more end of preseason, like know what they're going to do. But at the same time, I'm quite surprised that actually was even happening back then. Like you say, you'd expect like even just a friendly toss around, play a bit of 7-on-7. It's all progress. It's all building a relationship. And I think it's great. Like I say, I'm thoroughly expecting Goff to surprise a few people this year. And that's purely because he's got a big chip on his shoulder. I feel like he's got quite a lot to prove. He's got a lot of doubters to prove wrong. And all these receivers have an even bigger impact to possibly make, because we're lacking that true wide receiver one. So they're all going to be chomping at the bit. So this is fantastic things to hear.
What about you, Luke, man?
I mean, first, let me just say this. Stafford has always worked with his receivers. The media does not always report it. So he has always worked with his receivers. He's done the same thing with DeAndre Swift. He did the same thing with Quintez Cephas. Even when he first came to the league, he met up with Calvin Johnson and worked out with him. He's always done that. And it's just not reported the same way they would report it if it was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can literally go out and get a manicure and a pedicure, and they're going to write a story about it. 200,000 words about how great his fingers and toes look. But Stafford can go out and can literally recruit every great player in the history of it, and the media is still going to spin it a negative way. And then a lot of the people in Pride Nation runs with it and say, you know what, this ain't gonna work and this is not gonna be good. But the reality is Stafford has always did that. And so I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not surprised of it at all. I do think that Jared Goff is going to be a welcome surprise for a lot of people, because he's not going to be asked to win the game. He's going to be asked not to lose it. And when you're asking people not to lose the game, you're going to get a different player. But the media has a way of skipping over the Lions, and it's convenient for them, and it's something that makes most of their jobs easy. Because you imagine if they truly had to write about all 32 teams. Oh, God forbid you actually got to work and earn your money to write about the teams you're supposed to. So I see situations where Jared Goff doing the same thing that Stafford did is not a big story to me. You want to shock me? Tell me something like Jared Goff is working on building up his arm strength, or tell me something like Jared Goff is working on building up his mobility. Then I'll be like, that's a story. But him working out with the receivers, they all do it. Every single person, Rex Grossman do it. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I completely agree. Shout out to all the guys in the chat, to Big Wes, Chris, SW Lion, 1540, Midwest Lion, BD Buster. We see all of you guys. SW Lion says he's predicting for Goff 25 to 30 touchdowns, 2 to 3 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, chip on the shoulder, strong offensive line, running backs, tight ends, solid coaching staff. Basically what Stafford ordered just before he left. But, it took a little bit of time to get here. Chris has said he believes the QB is going to have it easier now. We've got a stacked line, can run the rock more efficiently. Big Wes is talking about the misery of being a Lions fan, 63 years old now, but the first time he's had real hope since the 90s. A feeling you, man. I can't wait for this season. We're going to surprise some people. They talked earlier in the chat about N'Keal Harry, and I just wanted to bring that up briefly. We had a chat in our WhatsApp group about the fact that he's now become available for trade. His agent went on Twitter and basically said he's out of there. He wants out of New England. He hasn't been given the opportunities, despite the fact they've had no wide receivers there. Him being taken in the first round, he's had no chance, obviously. Luke, we can give N'Keal Harry a chance here, right?
Hell no. No. Absolutely no. I mean, listen. If we're just going to give things a chance, put hot cold down my pants while you at it. I mean, this is ridiculous. Listen, this is a guy who I thought would have been really good coming out of Arizona State. I want to say it was the Devils.
It's Ryan's team.
Yeah, see, I want to say I was high on him. What I didn't account for was for him to have the droppies, for him to all of a sudden no longer know how to run routes, for him to all of a sudden to get into traffic. He's getting bodied by people. You know what? I can do a whole clinic on one game of how bad it's gotten for N'Keal Harry. And I'm not acting like it's this. Now, if they release him and you say, hey, should we pick him up? Sure. Trade for him? I'm not giving New England nothing. You sent us Matt Patricia. The only thing you should get is jail time, okay? You allow Matt Patricia, you knew what you was doing when you told him go and get that job over there in Detroit, and you let him go over there and just ruin us. No, I'm not trading for him. We give up no draft capital whatsoever at all for a receiver. They come too easy. And you got to keep in mind, we haven't even had the full roster breakdown to get us to the 53-man roster. There's going to be a ton of undrafted good receivers and drafted receivers who's going to get cut. N'Keal Harry, he can ask for every trade that he wants. He lucky that they even listen to him. No, do not touch N'Keal Harry. That's 100% no. There's no way I would touch him. I wouldn't touch him with 10 foot ain't long enough, 20, 100-yard pole. Okay, it's just no way. I'm good on that. Now, if he's a free agent, we can talk about it.
So, like I said, Brian, you're an Arizona State fan, right? So you'd take him, wouldn't you?
Well, I suppose you can't really count my bias. If you ask everyone about college football, everyone says the Pac-12 doesn't play defense. They don't play a lot of defense. Like you say, I was alarmed by how, like you say, he's getting bodied. This guy's nearly 6'4" and like 220 pounds. But he came out of college and he's playing like he's built like me, like he's 5'10". Like you say, he's not using his body or his weight. So there has been some disappointing things. Like I say, only 83 targets in his 2 years. So they clearly don't trust him that much to even look in his direction read-wise. So like I say, not 100%. Like I say, I agree. I think he's going to get cut. They'll struggle to trade him. He'll ask for a release and they'll grant it. Maybe then we'll talk. But like you say, we've got a mishmash car of receivers anyway, but another body will help. If we want someone big and slow, we've already got Sage Surratt.
For now, before the cuts, he might get there, but I hope Victor Bolden makes it into this stage.
I mean, 81 targets, 45 catches. You can't make this stuff up.
No, I mean, the thing is, you earn your targets, right? If the quarterback trusts you, if you put the hard work in, if you look like succeeding on the training field, you'll get the targets. He hasn't done it, so he hasn't gotten. So it's a complete waste. I mean, the thing is, he was the number 32 pick in the draft, so he's on first-round pick money. Now, it's not high first-round pick money, but it's still a lot of money. And if we are actually in a rebuild, and if we are actually, whatever it is going to be, I know, Luke, you think we're going to do better, and I'm going to come on to that at some point later. But if this is a retool, we're not going to do that great this year, maybe, and we want to roll over as much cap as possible to hammer free agency next year and have an awesome team with 2 first-round picks, then picking up this effectively bum right now player is not the way that we're going to turn our franchise into a winning team. It's not going to move the needle. Why would you do it? I don't understand this at all. It's just the same old Lions fans going, we can win now, let's get this guy. And it's like, have you considered anything at all about the franchise and where we are right now? It's just, it blows my mind. I do not understand it.
Take it a step further, though. Take it one more step further. When you talk about the same old Lions fan, every time a player comes up for trade or release, we the fans be like, should we get him? We should get him. I don't care who it is, right? They can literally right now say that Disney has just dropped Mickey Mouse, and Lion fans would be like, we need a mouse on this team. Lions and cats get along, right? Like the whole mouse and cat thing. This thing could work. It could be the new Tom and Jerry. This is ridiculous. Don't waste draft capital on things that you can get for free. This is the first thing you should have learned based on John Dorsey and how he's built teams over years. You don't give up any type of assets on things you don't have to waste money on. It's one of the reasons why I got so mad when we traded for Everson Griffin. I'm like, why trade for somebody that if you really wanted him and he really wanted to play for you, you go and get him in free agency. You wasted a draft pick on him and he didn't do anything for you. We're not going to do this. The same old Lion fans got to change their approach when it comes to identifying talent and ask themselves this: could you get him in free agency? Because I don't think he's going to have a huge market.
I mean, there's a lot of teams with 90 players on the roster right now, and they're all fighting for places. So I don't know. Maybe people like taking first-round picks to try and see what they do. Right? We've got Charles Harris, who's in that exact position right now. He's a first-round pick. Maybe we can get something out of him. So I think someone will take him. But you're right. I don't think there's going to be a big market.
No, it's just not going to be a strong enough market for it. Even with Charles Harris, we got him as a free agent. We didn't give up no assets to get him. You know, we basically went out there and said, hey, nobody else wants you. We do. Nobody else believes in you. We do. We're going to give you a shot and come here. And that's been the mantra this entire offseason since we got Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, which is nobody likes you, nobody believes in you, but we do. Let's go and show the world why we should be respected. And that's the way it should be.
One Pride 40 has just said we should get Godwin next year. And, I mean, that's going too far the other way, right? Why would Godwin come to the Lions? Like, he's at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. They just won a Super Bowl.
See, I guess when it comes to Godwin, first of all, let me just be clear. When Godwin came out, I was swinging at the TV like, he's still here, y'all. Just take Godwin. He's still here. And we didn't, which is okay. But the problem is I'm at a point now when it comes to receivers, I'm really not that high on them anymore because every year you get a bunch of good receivers who come out and you do not even have to go crazy no more to find a receiver. They all come out. And so as of lately, a lot of the late round receivers have really been good. And I don't think there's no reason for you to go out and get it. Now, if Godwin wants to come here and he comes dirt cheap, great. But if not, I don't have a problem with drafting my next receiver. You don't have to do anything crazy.
No, it's a good off-season for draft wide receivers. And I saw something on Twitter earlier. To put it into context, it was N'Keal Harry, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Hurd, Deontay Johnson. They were all taken before DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin in 2018. That tells you how you don't have to reach for wide receiver anymore. There's so much value when you wait, because those four have been pretty much, best part of gadget players and busts. And Andy Isabella, he was taken before, so there really isn't that any reason to pounce on someone anymore. So I totally agree.
Cool. All right, that's the news from the last 7 days. So we're just going to launch straight into a chat with Luke. And you said before, man, that you kind of wanted to support a team that was like low, but they were up and coming, and that's why you kind of chose the Lions and also the Bucks, right? So does that mean that you're not from Detroit? You're not from Michigan?
Oh no, I'm in Detroit now.
You're in Detroit now.
Yeah, I'm in Detroit now. This is where home has been for me, and so, I've somewhat been an underdog in a lot of ways in life, and when you're an underdog in a lot of ways in life, you tend to gravitate to those same people who can keep proving people wrong. And so when you look at the Lions is the team that was not supposed to happen. Even in 1991, when they went to the NFC Championship game, that wasn't supposed to happen. You had a backup quarterback. You had a bunch of makeshift receivers, similar to what we got going on right now, a bunch of makeshift receivers that nobody believed in anymore and said was hot garbage. You made a few draft choices to get some other receivers who basically blew up and changed a lot of different things, and you worked everything through a defense. And so I look at this Lions team and I said, yeah, they've had Barry, and who don't like Barry Sanders, right? Because it's Barry. But the reality is this is a team that represents this city in a lot of ways, because even when things aren't going the best for the city always finds a way to bounce back. And that's how this team is. It doesn't always go right. Yes, they have a history of things not always being perfect, but when it's good, it's good. The problem is we just never follow through when it's good. And that's where we see the drop off and see the change in this team. But the Lions, think about it. If you think about all the teams in the NFL, all the teams, only a few of them have like furious like mascots and stuff. What's more scarier than a lion? You're not going to tell me a Patriot is scarier than a lion. All right. You're not going to tell me that you want to tell me a Jaguar is scary. Okay. I can probably join you there. But what the hell is a Titan? Right? Like what are we doing? Like the Cardinals?
Oh, come on. Titans are awesome.
I'm just saying, like, we can do so many different things, and I just don't see a reason. I don't see, like, to me, it embodies everything that says, get up. That's the thing I love about the team. It's a team that's always going to tell you to get up. Everybody not going to like you. Everybody not going to like what you do, but they're going to respect you. And that's what we have always seen, the respect when it comes to most, the teams that we beat. And the teams we lose to still say, man, that was a hard game.
Go Lions has said at Ryan, at Matt, ask Luke if he likes ketchup.
Okay. No, I'm a mustard person. Okay. I enjoy mustard. I like Worcester sauce. I'll pretty much do anything but ketchup. See, they think they slick. See, they trying to get some information that I may or may not know pertaining to ketchup, a trunk, hot weather, and an explosion of said ketchup bottle in trunk because of hot weather. But I don't know anything about that. And if I did, why would I say anything? Because I don't know anything about it. I'm just putting it out there. So yes, no to the ketchup, no tomatoes. As a matter of fact, the other day I heard somebody say ketchup and I sneezed. I'm allergic to anything ketchup. Okay. So no, I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to incriminate themselves. That's what they're trying to do, Matt. And I'm not going to do it because I don't know anything. See?
You know nothing about the thing that you just said.
Nothing. Not a single thing about it. I have never even heard. I may have heard stories, but that's just in passing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe you. I do. Midwest Lion has said, I see a carbon copy of N'Keal Harry in Sage Surratt. Apart from Surratt, can run better routes and in the run game. What do you reckon, Ryan?
I can see that, like you say. I think I watched a lot of Wake Forest football and they could run the ball. So Surratt, like you say, possibly offers a bit more of a blocker, probably a bit more unselfish. Whereas Arizona State and N'Keal Harry was not asked to do that for the likes of Demario Rich and like that. So he's a bigger body. He's a bit slower, but I think he's a bit more patient, like you say, in his route running, which means hopefully if he can tidy up his game a bit, he might be able to offer some at the next level. So I've got a bit of hopes for Surratt.
Good. All right. So I wanted to ask Luke, actually. Your channel's had quite a few episodes by now. Who's your favorite guest that you've had on the channel so far?
Ooh. Honestly, I'm going to say former Detroit Lion quarterback JT O'Sullivan, and this is the reason why. Some of the things that he revealed was so mind-boggling to me that it was happening in this organization that I was like, what? Like he told me the story how they had this whole preparation for this game, and they went over this thing religiously. He said he said it was so bad that he had nightmares, dreams, and happy thoughts about this particular game. And they get to the game, and he got to get in. And he goes to the coach and he said, all right, what we calling? And the coach literally looks at him after all that preparation and say, what are we calling? Don't worry about it. Just throw the ball to Calvin. That was it. And he was like, what? And he was like, yeah, just throw the ball to Calvin. And I'm like, so y'all went through all that work? He's like, yeah, we went through all this work. And he said, I don't care what you do, throw the ball to Calvin. And I'm thinking, how? No wonder who does that? A whole game plan out the window because you got a guy who's good and they put butts in the seat. Put more butts in the seat by doing what? Throw the ball to Calvin. So he had to be by far my favorite guest. But I've had a lot of great subscribers come on who has challenged me and had fun. But that one was by far because he gave me an insight to some things that I wasn't prepared for and wasn't really expecting to hear. And then it got kind of double confirmed when there was an interview done by Joey Harrington who kind of talked about similar things. So 100% had to be JT O'Sullivan, who also has a YouTube channel called the QB School.
Yeah, I think I've heard JT O'Sullivan come on to, I think it was 2-for-1 Drafts, which is a PFF podcast, to talk about QB School and what he saw in the draftees in the most recent draft. It was one of their more interesting episodes, actually. So that's really cool to hear that he's a cool guy as well from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see, to get somebody who's literally in the room to see some of the things that they saw, and it just broke down. Like there was times where he said that he would have like an audible, and he would, he'd be ready to call the audible, and they'd be like, no, throw the ball to Calvin. Like, like generally it was like, I don't care what you're talking about, but coach, they're going to blitz. I don't care about the blitz. You throw the ball to Calvin. And so it was a huge insight.
That bothers me so much. I've always said, and people don't agree with me, the Lions and Matthew Stafford got better when Calvin retired because they couldn't throw that in there. They couldn't just say, oh,
that's a fact.
Go to Calvin. I would take Golden Tate, Danny Amendola, and Marvin Jones Jr. as a trio over Calvin Johnson any day, because you can't cover them all. You don't know where he's going. Like, everything revolved around Calvin Johnson. Like, say, we've seen 2 defenders on him, 3 defenders on him. It just made things too one dynamic. And like I say, when he learned to spread that ball around and get to his second and third read, his game took a whole nother level. And like the Lions suddenly just managed to something click when he retired, unfortunately. And like I say, it's one of the best players in the franchise history, but like I say, we relied on him just far too heavily.
Yeah, we really did. Ryan, just for the benefit of someone in the chat, can you say route running again? Just your northernness. Your northernness is coming through.
Route running.
There we go. Dan Pask on Twitch has just said he read that Anthony Lynn was planning to take a year off and that Dan talked him into coming. He said he had to be in the building because they were building something special. He said it feels special to him right now. How do we feel? Just before I go into that, Ant has joined us, Anthony Fitzpatrick, another co-host of the Royal Lions UK podcast, and Luke is with us as well. And so, how you doing, man?
Evening, chaps. How are we all?
Good.
Yeah, good.
I just love like if people are not paying attention, if y'all really focus, each one of them have a very beautiful cup of something in it. 2 of them are very discreet. They don't want you to know what they're drinking on. This is by like strategic design, right? But if you watch Matthew, he wants you to know that he's drinking something that you probably won't get unless you go to the UK. That's what he wants you to know. But the other 2, they want you to know that if it's not in a coffee mug, then you're probably not drinking it right. I mean, look at them. They got great beards. Everything just lining up. I want y'all to take this into consideration, because if you have not hit the like button, shame on you. And if you have not hit the subscribe button, shame on you. But I want you to know that we are a forgiving group. We love you, even though you are too tired to just smash the crap out that button. You should have an indent in your phone, your tablet, and your key should be falling off. So do us the favor, hit the like button if you have not. If you have already, I want to see some emojis in the chat. Let the people know in the UK we have fun. This is how it happens over here. Oh yeah, he's got the good stuff. Now you want to show the can. Okay. But make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button, people. We want to make sure we show our support. This is One Pride. And if you're going to get your news, you want to get it from people who know their stuff. And I promise you, they know their stuff. Okay. So make sure you show some love and support and get them up. They should be already at 105 subscribers and or higher. And if it's not there, again, shame on you. Okay. And the Tooth Fairy won't be bringing you money for your tooth. He'll be coming to take the tooth. Okay.
God, not had this much love in ages. Thank you.
And you've just got a new girlfriend.
I'm telling you, what can I say?
Oh man, I love you so much. Right, Anthony Lynn, he was taking a year off. He's come to Detroit. Does it feel special that all of these coaches who I think we probably thought were maybe out of our reach, why would they come here? Franchise, falling by the wayside a little bit. Rebuild is coming. Stafford is leaving. And all of these guys have come here to be part of something which they think is special. Does it feel special to you guys? It's a great topic.
I'll start. I'm not going to use the word special. I'm going to say it's sensible and it's clever. What we're doing is we're bringing in a guy that had too much responsibility on him as a head coach. He had too much to think about. What he should have really been doing is what he's doing here. He's thinking about the offense. He's bringing that West Coast sense with him. Jared Goff's coming too. So those two, I think, should go together hand in hand. He's getting a good tight end, which he's going to rely heavily on. He's getting a good line. We've got a pair of dynamic backs, so we're going to be able to do the motions, the bootlegs, a bit of RPO. I think it just makes so much sense to bring someone like Lynn over here that's going to bring over that motiony offense. We're going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot to think about for a defense, and we're going to be putting square pegs in square holes, and that makes a change for us because I think it's just something that is going to gel really well, like Juice Staley. I can imagine him and Lynn are going to get on really well. They seem really likable guys, and we're just bringing in good, wholesome pieces, and that for me is just really important.
How about you, Ant?
I was a little skeptical at first, but I think maybe I was going back off what we saw with the Chargers last year. We did see a lot of similarities with those inabilities to hold on to leads, maybe questionable play calling during the games and that. But I think now that it's settled down a bit, I think I'm a lot more open to it because, we've got a lot of coaches here who are inexperienced, first time in the role. You need someone who's had the experience, who's been through this before, and himself probably has a lot to prove because, that Chargers team potentially could be very good and maybe he's feeling there's a bit of a missed opportunity there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think he's got a lot of the type of players he likes. He's got two excellent running backs in Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. He's got a great tight end in TJ Hockenson. He loves utilizing guys like this. And, if he can help out Goff the way he helped out Herbert, then potentially it could be one of the better coaching appointments there. So I've warmed up to it over time. And I think, we'll see. Hopefully he has a really good year with us, has a bit of a renaissance. So we'll see. But yeah, we're getting there with it.
See, I think you got to change your perspective a little bit, Anthony. I'm going to tell you what I mean. Let's go down the list of coaches who sucked as a head coach, but was 100% awesome as a coordinator. Let's start off with our guy who's going to be the safety blanket to Aaron Glenn and Don Capers. Head coach, sucked. Everywhere he went as a coordinator, success. Going down to Wade Phillips, head coach, sucked. They go over to being a coordinator, success. And one of my personal favorites, Rob Marinelli, head coach, sucked. Coordinator, pretty damn decent. And so you start to go down the list and you see that sometimes there's a difference in responsibility and different things that change the outcomes for the people. So don't look at what they did as a whole on the San Diego, but look at it from the standpoint that this team has a coaching staff that many other teams would kill for. There are some teams out there right now who would love to have an Anthony Lynn as an offensive coordinator. There are some people out here who from what I've been reading, who have talked about why Aaron Glenn is going to be the next great up-and-coming defensive coordinator because of how he thinks and the way he approaches the game. And you start to go through and look at people like Deuce, and you say to yourself, why would Deuce leave Philly and come here and not go anywhere else? It's because of what is here in terms of the contagious, most energetic, most passionate, down-to-earth person that you can have as a leader in Dan Campbell that's drawing these people here. And that's the part that we have to look at. When you have people who show up that want to be here, that want to perform, and they want to do it at a certain level, your head coach has already won half the battle. And that's a huge part where you have to say, okay, did the Lions do enough to start the retool? So I don't call it a rebuild, I call it a retool, because we never had anything built to be tearing down and starting over. We're retooling what we have to get it to be built. But this team has done something that it has not done in a long time, which is put together a staff that may actually, for once, be pilfered by other teams. This has not happened in years. And so I can assure you that even if Anthony Lynn does not do well as an offensive coordinator, right? Let's just say for some reason, he just sucks. The call has already been put out by Dan Campbell, which would then lead to people coming here still with us still stealing coaches, and we already are stealing players. And there are so many other people who are out there right now on other teams who's coming up on their contracts who heard that call.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying completely there. I think, like I said, I think initially when the call was made, I was thinking back to his time as a head coach. But as he's gone along, as I've listened to him, seen the way things are going, I think I've warmed up to him a lot more now. I think it's just one of the things, we have to adapt to over there, because we don't have the sort of coaching schemes with our teams and that over here where you can move around between a coordinator and a head job. You're either a head guy or you're not, and so that's what you're sort of based on. So it's still just trying to differentiate between that. But I think he's going to be a hell of an experienced guy in that room. And like I said, there's a lot of young, impressive coaches in there who are probably going to become head coaches themselves in the future, which can only be a good thing for us.
Yeah, Aubrey Pleasant.
That's scary.
For sure.
That's scary to think that Dan Campbell may start a coaching tree. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool. I can't wait to hear that, the Campbell coaching tree. That's so cool. Just to say to JGB, he's just said, have any of us or are we planning to catch a game at Ford Field anytime soon? I can say for me, I hopefully will be in Cleveland on the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and I should be at Ford Field for the Thanksgiving game if all goes well. So that answers your question there. Other people talking about Campbell not being afraid to bring in talent coaches, people that could eventually replace him, which is, potentially definitely something that could happen.
Brilliant.
There's nothing to say that Campbell could have a bad couple of years, but there's going to be some quality behind him that could just move on up. So that's a terrific thing. I think in a previous podcast when it all started, we were talking about a conveyor belt of coaches. You train these guys up to become really successful, quality guys. They then go and find their own way, establish their own teams as a head coach, and the next guy comes up. It's like you say next man up when it comes to players, but you don't say it about coaches, and you absolutely should. It should be that mentality all the time. All right, let's move on to the next one. So, Luke,
can I stop you for a minute, Matthew?
Yeah. Go, man.
I got to stop you for 1 second, Matthew, because I don't think you noticed it yet. You got your Bud Light going. You might want to pour you a little bit more in there, because you just hit over 100 subscribers. That's what I say. That's right, good people. We have officially hit 100 subscribers, and I know we can do better than that. That means you need to go tell a friend to tell a friend to tell his friend what the hell you're doing. We are all over. We're not just in the U.S. anymore, people. We in the U.K. I don't even know how the hell to get there other than plane, but you know what? We there, and you need to go and get somebody to come join us to get these subscribers up, because one thing I noticed about this particular channel, about the people on this channel, look, there we go. Get it together. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get us up there. Okay, people, we made it to 100. Now it's off to, let's get to 500. So what we need to do is push it closer, get it to 500. We'll celebrate at 5. We'll celebrate again at 1,000. And then when they pass me, we're going to really celebrate. So let's make sure we get them likes up and show them some love. But to you, to you, Matthew, to you, Ryan, to you, Anthony, congratulations to get to that 100. Cheers to getting to the next 500 and to the 1,000. I feel like if we keep this going, we can get to 1,000. That's what I feel like. My spirit says we can do it.
I appreciate you so much for helping us as well. Thank you. Cheers.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
I said before we came on, Luke, that we had like 40 subs when you first noticed us like a week and a half ago, and you like over doubled it in a week and a half. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a testament to what you guys do and what you guys are able to produce and talk about. And one of the things that this fan base, this is one thing I always say about this fan base, they know logical thinking people when they hear it, and they know great content when they see it. And you guys produce great content. So we gonna make sure we keep this thing going, because that's how we get it done. But I want to make sure we celebrate that 100. You can go anywhere you want from here. You can ask me whatever you want. What my hairline look like, I don't really care. But what we can do is we got to celebrate the 100, and we got to do it in a way that they can do it. So we got to come up with something that's like only somebody in the UK would know. What's a saying that's really cool, but only somebody in the UK would know?
Oh God.
Got to be something. Like, for example, right? Like if you ever come to Detroit, I'm going to tell you the saying and the greeting that most people will know from Detroit. It's real simple. In fact, y'all got to say, because I got to hear how it's going to sound. It's going to be beautiful. It's literally, what up, though?
What up, though?
See, there we go. Come on, Ryan. Bring it home. Bring it home. What up, though?
What up, though?
See, we there. Anthony, don't you let us down. Don't fail the group. We're here for you. This is a support group. Don't be afraid. Look into the camera and tell the people what up, though.
What up, though?
See, we in the building, people. That's what I'm talking about. This is how you do it. One pride, one nation. We talk football, nothing else. That's how we get her done. Now, Matthew, you were in the midst of saying something. Let's get it. Where were you heading off to on the next part of our question? And we're going to celebrate this later. But yes, 100% just enjoy what you guys do.
Just to thank everyone in the chat as well, the celebrations and the emojis and whatever coming up. That's really cool. Thank you, guys. I was just going to ask you, Luke, about your best and worst Lions moments in your fandom. So you've supported the team for like 30 years or so, right? So well, you got a long time, but
oh Jesus, yeah, I got some best moment.
It doesn't have to be game related as well. I asked someone this before, and it was just about a moment outside the stadium that someone was talking about before. But go ahead.
My best moment is where I literally turned into like a super fanboy when I met Indomitian Sue.
Oh.
And it was, first of all, I didn't realize how big he was. I was like, this dude is pretty freaking big. Okay, I get it. But he was so cool about it. And I was like, yo, this is what's up. Because I when it comes to defensive players, I have a soft spot for him. So that's my best moment. But the worst moment, the worst moment that I can think of when it came is when I actually went to the game, paid money to have an end zone seat just to watch them throw a Hail Mary and catch it right in front of me. It's the worst moment ever in Lions history for me where I wanted to puke. I literally saw him box everyone out, and I said, he's going to catch this. There's no way in hell he's not going to catch it. He's got every defender behind him, and sure enough, he catches it. The game is over, and the worst part of it was this. I talked crap to 5 Canadian people who was literally Packer fans, and I'm like, how the hell we're next door neighbors and you're a Packers fan? This is disgusting, and I'm talking mad trash. And they thought the game was over, and he catch that Hail Mary, and they literally started doing some weird dance back and forth and pointing at me, and I just sat there in total disbelief. Worst moment ever, and I'm still mad about it. I even got a photo of it, and I'm just like, I don't even want to look at the photo because I'm like, this is such crap. So that's the worst moment I ever had as a Lions fan. That was worse than 0-16.
Oh man!
I paid a lot of money for them seats just to be let down like that.
I think the other thing worse than the Hail Mary was the face mask that led to it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna leave that one alone.
We'll skip past that.
To be fair, the one that happened even more recently with the hands to the face foul twice in the same game was just like, just fuck off.
See, that game I had a different attitude to, though. I felt like, that was a bad call, but I felt like the Lions should have never been in a position for them to just need a field goal to win it. Because we got to the red zone 14 times, and we came away with, like, I think 3 or 4. Let me see. 5 field goals. Out of 14 trips, that's not possible. like we got to do better than that. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. One Pride 40, you said hiring Matt Patricia is his worst Lions moment. That's fair. That is very, very fair.
That is fair. He's definitely worse than Matt Millen.
Why don't you guys say your best and worst moments? I know we've talked about them before, but some of these guys haven't seen it. So what do you reckon best and worst moments in your fandom? So it doesn't have to be, since before you started watching them, but there's loads of moments to pick.
He's thinking.
Okay, for me, I will definitely go. Best moment was at Wembley Stadium, watching the Lions against the Falcons, 21-0 down at halftime, field goal to win the game, having come back 21-19 with 3 seconds on the clock. Prater misses the field goal. called back for offside. Prater makes a field goal. Lions win the game. And, like 10 seconds before, all of the Falcons sideline were streamed onto the field celebrating a win. And then their faces as they lose. Oh, man. I had a Falcons fan next to me. I laughed in his face. It was beautiful. It was so funny. Worst moment was hearing that Megatron had retired, because he had come to Wembley for that game, but was injured the previous week. And I was like, it's okay. I'll get another chance. He's still young. And then he retired at the end of that season. And he was my favourite player at the time. That was absolutely gutting. Stafford leaving's obviously just heart-wrenching as well. He was one of the reasons I got into the Lions in the first place. You guys come on.
This is just funny though. I don't know if you saw this from Big West. He says zebras hate lions. Those are just facts. literally, those are just. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, 100% sense. Oh my god! Let me see.
In recent memory, I'm not gonna lie. One of the greatest moments was when we beat the Patriots. When Matt Patricia, we upset the Patriots 26-10 at Farfield. That was one of the highlights of probably like last 5-6 years. Because like I say, it was a Tom Brady Patriots. It wasn't like beating the Packers with Deshaun Kaiser. Like, we actually beat the Patriots with Tom Brady and as Matt Patricia's head coach. Like I say, that was just perfect. It was delivered, set up nicely. One of the worst moments is it's got to be Anthony Hitchens, the not called pass interference. If we win that game and we beat Dallas Cowboys, like the whole that steered something. Like, the next few years could have been very different if we'd have seen that game out. Also mention, we all know the batted ball against Seattle, which should have been called, batted out the end zone, which should have given us an extra go. Like I said, that was another chance that got screwed again.
You know what's scary though? Now that I think about this, Ryan, and you just brought up a thing. We can literally make a whole video just on like bad moments, like the no touchdown catch from Calvin Johnson, or better yet, how about the no touchdown from Golden Tate? Even though he's clearly over the line, and did 8-second runoff, right?
That was the worst. I considered that
the flag pickup. The pass interference.
You're taking too much from Ant. Leave some for him.
I mean, so many moments. But yeah, you're right. My bad, Anthony. I'm sorry. My apologies.
No. It's fine. Mine's different. Mine's a player leaving, but mine was different. Mine was basically seeing Matt Patricia force Glover Quinn into retirement by absolutely ruining him as a player, because I started a lot around the 2015-2016 season when I was really going into it. He was one of the first players I really took to. I absolutely loved him as a player. I thought he was a wonderful guy, exemplary on the pitch, great player. And just to see him regress the way he did and get forced out the way so many popular players did by Patricia just broke me, really. It was really, really gutting to see him leave. That's something I'll not forgive Patricia for, that is, because he was one of our best players at the time and he just became a shell of himself. And you could tell he wanted him out. He was a Caldwell guy and he didn't want him here. And it was just tragic to see it, because I really liked him as a player. But I mean, favourite ones, There's a few that have been mentioned already. Obviously, I liked, so many of the late comeback wins in the fourth quarters under Stafford. The Falcons game last year, I loved that one. That was just pure drama. That was. I absolutely loved that. But, outside of that, probably the ones you've already mentioned, really.
Golden Tate flipping in the end zone in overtime. Oh, that's so good, man. I hope those days come back soon.
Yeah. I'm with Anne because I'm a defensive guy. I love the defense. They're my favourite players. Like you say, we've got Sue, DeAndre Slay, but Cliff Averill, we thought, like you say, if we didn't tie him down when he was in his prime, he would have changed that defense for years to come. The likes of, there's just so many kind of guys like Stephen Tulloch. These were monumental key pieces at the time that we didn't put the money in the right place.
DeAndre Levy was my favourite. Oh. Yeah.
They say these were key pieces. That was a horrible, nasty defense, and I fucking loved it. They broke it up.
They just every time they got close, they turned the ship. Like, it was right there, and they turned ship every single time, and it's so disheartening. With Anthony, I can totally agree with him. I had a whole video afterthought after we lost to the Jets of me going off because I'm like, so just because Tavon Wilson is from the Patriots, you gonna start him over Glover Quinn? What is wrong with you? I was so upset, and I was like, you know what? I'm out. Most of the subscribers would tell you that I was ready to fire him after the first year, and they was like, you got to give him 3 years. And I was like, if I never hear 3 years again, I would be the happiest person ever. Like, I don't want to hear 3 years, nothing. Should have fired him after the first year. So I can definitely feel your pain on that one. But man, yeah, we had a lot of players in the right position to succeed, and I don't understand why we just never stayed the course.
And we never replaced them either. You know, we've not had a safety like Quinn since he left, not even close. It's someone who could have built a new defense around him, and we just let him leave. Patricia did. I always hate him. Always.
He said, I always hate him.
Yeah. Especially when it's like your first, you know, the first guy you sort of really like as a player and you get there. I think it just means that little bit more as well. The one that sort of got you into it a bit. It's just like, yeah, I want guys like this on my team who are really good, who are great players, great teammates, and just to see them chucked out like that, it's just not on.
No, it's not on. Right, a few more comments from the chat. Let's go through them. So someone said about Marvin Jones' 2017 game on Thanksgiving, caught touchdown against the Vikings with 3 dudes over him. Someone else has said, let's have a look. Greatest game for me, this is Hatter's House 710. Greatest game for me was Lions versus Raiders in 2011. He lives in LA, and there was a local bar with Raiders fans, and he said it was tense. Worst moments, Izzy777 said about the loss to Washington in 2019. That game told him everything he needed to know about Patricia. So many out there. Thank you guys for all the comments. Go Lions is set
for you.
Go, Luke.
I got good news for you. We at 105 now and counting. We are moving on up. We moving on up. And we got 26 likes. We got 31 people in the chat watching. I know we can get to 30. I know we can get to 30 likes. Okay, people. But yeah, we moving on up. The numbers is getting up there. We gonna keep the great content coming. I'm gonna definitely be back. If and if they say I can't come back, I'm gonna find my way back in. They can't just get. Not gonna happen.
You can come back. Don't worry about that. We love this.
This is one thing the British can't do. We can't hype like you Americans can. You just got an art form at being able to hype all this.
Hey, listen. It's on my bucket list. UK is on my bucket list. We had opportunities and see, it's the flight that's bothering me. When I heard how long the flight was, I was like what the hell do you do for that long in a plane? Like that's too many hours. But I'm gonna go ahead and stomach it. Just try to sleep half the time and get through it. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's just good plan.
Count how many bad quarterbacks the Chicago Bears have had. That should keep you going for a while.
That's a fair assessment. That is true. That is a true assessment and fair.
Just want to show some love to one of our guys who's been watching on Twitch, Dan. He said his best moment the 2016 comeback season as a whole. His worst moment was the penalty near the end of the Kansas City game, which went their way. It seemed to change our season. He thinks the worst decision was not re-signing Graham Glasgow.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, I love Glasgow.
Glasgow. Yeah, but let's be honest. Glasgow or Frank Ragnow?
Oh yeah, okay, no contest. But
I mean, they at least they replaced them. Like I could understand you being upset with this move if they didn't replace him, but they replaced him with Jonah Jackson and they replaced him with Frank Ragnow, and then you go out and you get Sewell. So I think you can be a little forgiving there. Now, where you should never be forgiven is the fact that they let Sue walk. That should have never happened. But the Graham Glasgow, I think you can forgive him for that a little bit. They at least replaced him with somebody.
I don't know. For me, it's the fact that they replaced him directly, pretty much, with Big V, with Halapoulivaati Vaitai. It's just, I know that they thought that he was going to be better than he has been, and he's been injured. We haven't seen the best of him in Detroit yet, but they were paid potentially similar money to now play. He was going to be a tackle, but he's ended up a guard, so he's playing a similar role. And we knew what we had in Glasgow, which is a damn good guard. And, you know, they brought Stenberg in to, you know, come in at that left guard spot with Jackson coming in at the right guard spot. But Stenberg showed nothing last year, wasn't up to scratch, was a healthy scratch for most of the year, despite the fact that they were picking up UDFAs off the street to be on the bench instead of him. That's, you know, a massive mistake. And Big V, yeah, he might be okay, but he's been paid far too much to do it when they had a known quantity in Glasgow who was good enough. So I think they made a massive mistake there.
Well,
But then you'd have.
But you can look at it a little bit different, and you got to look at it a little bit different. When they brought in Big V, he was brought in to be a right tackle, but I think his natural position is guard. And if you look at the numbers, his numbers were better as a right guard, and so even in that regard, Big V at right guard will probably be the same equivalent, in my opinion, to a Graham Glasgow. You might be paying him a little bit more, but the fact that Big V now is sandwiched between Frank Ragnow and Sewell, that's got to help. So again, I get what you're saying. I get it, but it still could be a little what's the word I want to use? It could be a little misconstrued a little bit when you look at it and say they did replace him, and they replaced it in a way that created a unit, not the player. That's the problem with the Lions. They've always went for the player. We had Barry, run him to death. You got Calvin, throw him the ball. You had Stafford, never throw the ball short. Like, I never understood why they wouldn't let Stafford throw the ball short. He can throw the ball deep 80 times a game, never short. So, but they did replace him though.
Yeah, that's fair. And sorry, you wanted to come in there? No,
go on.
No, grab.
Like you say,
I forgot what we were going to say now.
Like you say, there's a few questions, like you say, with that O-line. Because like you say, Logan Stenberg, like, he showed nothing. He was a healthy scratch. Like you say, he wasn't picking it up. But then we brought a guy like Dan Skipper, who 1 week was serving Dorito taco shells in Taco Bell. The guy was pretty much unemployed. A week later, we brought him in, and he was making the roster from like defensive tackle to like he moved to a guard. This guy was like 6'10". He was too big. Like, he was never even very well practiced, but he seemed to pick it up quicker than Stenberg. It really worries me. I don't think he'll make the roster. I've got a sneaky position though that Drake Jackson will, who was his teammate at Kentucky, that he's an undrafted free agent in our squad this year. I think he could actually do pretty well. He's supposed to be the backup center. So, like I say, I'm hoping we can shift someone there. Like I say, and Ants man Ty Crosby, he's still here. Can we make him a right guard? There's hope there.
He deserves to be something, that's for sure.
Yeah, just describe to the guys your love for Tyrell, man, because they don't know. They don't know.
It's not that. He's one of my favourite players, but I'm always behind the players who show development in a year and in a very difficult situation with a rotating guard system next to him. He excelled as a tackle. He did extremely well, and he's found himself just in a bad situation with Sewell coming here. But, you know, I'm still saying he had a really good year and he could still be part of it. But, you know, hopefully he still gets some good reps. I'd rather him go at guard over V because he's not proved it. I want players here who are going to develop and get rewarded for it, not gotten rid of. That's just how it is, really.
Crosby just brings me joy on the field. You can see when you score a touchdown and he's lifting the running backs up. Like, the guy's just really good for the locker room. I just want him to succeed so much.
But it's on the field as well. He gave up 1.5 pressures. That's pressures. That's sacks, quarterback hits, you know, pressures. That's just 1.5 a game. Chase Young did nothing against him. He had a really good year, and just everyone seemed very quickly to dismiss him and be like, he's done with. But you want to see those players. I mean, he was a rotational player before last year. That was it, just a rotational guy. He beat Big V out, even when he came back from his injury. He kept the place, you know, very well done. So, I don't know, I hope he's still got a future here somewhere, because he's the type of player I want. Someone who's getting better and someone who's a good team player. You need guys like him.
But he's 26. Let's be honest. He's 26. He's on the last year of his deal. And if you cut him, you save $2.1 million. That's $2.1 million that can go towards upgrading the safety position right now, because we need another safety outside of Tracy Walker.
We've got the cap space, though. We've got the
you
cap
do,
space.
You do, but you got to also look at it from this perspective right now. Are you re-signing him? That's the question that we should ask ourselves. Are we re-signing him? And my answer is no. And should we re-sign him? No. No.
I guess the question is, though, how much does he want? Because at the right price, I would say absolutely yes. Jeff Risdon of Lions Wire, who's on the Detroit Lions podcast, has always preached you need 3 starting corners and you need 3 starting tackles, because the positions are so important. You get so many injuries in those positions that having a quality backup tackle, having a quality backup starter standard outside corner is worth its weight in gold on an NFL roster. And I ask you, I tell you, Big V is not up to it, but Tyrell beat him out for a reason last year, and he is good enough to play that spot. Now, if he wants 10 million, I'm not going to re-sign him, but if his demands are reasonable, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, but if he only made 4 million, according to Over the Cap, he made 4.2 million for his whole contract. He won't 10 million. he won't 5, 6, 7, 8. He wants the money, because the money is going to be the determining factor. I just look at it and I say, let's just say hypothetically, devil's advocate here. Let's just say hypothetically, we have to release him to say, let's say we mess around and we trade for Tyrann Mathieu, but we got to release him for Tyrann Mathieu to make a spot on his team. Are you still against it? Like the unfortunate part is it's about the money. Follow the money, you'll get your answers. And you're talking about taking a $71,000 cap hit to save $2.1 million. It's simple math for me. And at that point with Crosby, what made him more expendable for me a little bit was when he had opportunities to take the position on every opportunity, because he's been in the league since 2018. He's been in games. He hasn't really just taken the position. And I know he was in swing position. They were doing all this stupid stuff with rotating the line. But the fact that he was in a position to basically tell the world, I'm here and I'm not giving it up, and he didn't do it. Yeah, I can see why there's a little bit of skepticism there, especially when you can get $2.1 million to release him or cut him or trade him. That's a lot of money to just not take.
And SW Lion has just said, what about Matt Nelson? I mean, when Crosby was out injured and Big D was out injured, Matt Nelson played very, very well. And, he's only played the position 2 years. He's only going to get better. So I'm on board the Matt Nelson train, but I do love Crosby for what he showed last year. I'll say that. Anyway, let's move on from Crosby, because we spent a bit of time. Luke, I know you mentioned that you met Sue. But who's your favourite pair from your Lions fandom so far, if it wasn't Ndamukong Suh?
My favorite? If it's oh man, it's gonna be hard. So
yeah, you only get one. Only one.
I know, that's what I'm trying to let me see. My favorite, if not Ndamukong Suh, I can't do Ndamukong Suh. You know what? I know exactly who I'm gonna say. It's somebody that I don't think get enough love and respect for what he did, but outside of Ndamukong Suh, and it's going to be a running thing, it's Shaun Rogers. I just thought what Shaun Rogers was able to do, as big as he was, that's not normal. It's just not, like, the amount of damage he was able to do, and he was like the pre-Suh before Suh. I would go him. If I had to go legends, it would be different, but I only get one. I'm going Shaun Rogers. I'm sticking to my defensive side and my defensive roots, and I'm taking Shaun Rogers.
Shaun Rogers, 7 years in Detroit, 98 games, 66 yards. That is a meaty interception.
Look how big he is too.
21 passes deflected, disrupted, whatever the stat is, 6 forced fumbles, 9 fumble recoveries, fumble recovery touchdown, 29 sacks, 355 tackles. That is a stellar time here. 6'4", 350 pounds. That is a big guy. Drafted 61st in the 2001 NFL draft, so that's why I'm not aware of him. But man, that's success.
Yeah, I mean, and the worst part about it is when you look at Shaun Rogers, Shaun Rogers, one of the things that Shaun Rogers used to do was he would get double teamed, but he would sometimes not get himself low, and that would cause problems. But overall, he was 100% a dog for me.
Oh man, just what a great career. What a great career. Anyway, Okay, so we've kind of already touched on it already, but what are your thoughts on the Quinn Trisha era as a whole? What did they do well? What didn't they do well? Where did it all go wrong?
Say that one more time. I apologize, Matthew. My kids are literally behind me talking about daddy, and I'm trying to figure out what they want, and he's talking about the ball. Same ball that he's holding in his hand. I don't know why he just don't take the ball. Clearly he is, but he wants to let me know that he has the ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Quinn Trisha era. So maybe this is a hard question to start off with, but what are the things they did well? What are the things they did badly? Where did it all go wrong for them?
Oh, this is easy. That's an easy question for me. I mean, let's be honest. You're talking about first things first. What did they do well? They drafted well. Yes, I know they're not the most flashiest people. Yes, they're not the most things. But if you look at most of the parts of the teams that we are happy about, they drafted, right? Like they draft. It's a reason why we can add a guy like Sewell to complete the process. They started off and did some things well in that regard. They set a standard because that 9-7 is not good enough. What in the world? My apologies. That 9-7, that 9-7 is not good enough. Will forever stick with me. That's a standard that I am holding them to. 9-7 isn't good enough. We should no longer be accepting 9-7. That's a good season. Now 9-8 obviously is going to be the new mark, but that's still not good enough. It's good for to start to read the retool back and get us going, but it's not there. Another thing that they did really well was, in my opinion, is they managed to move money around in strange ways. Because they restructured Matthew Stafford's deal, it made his trade more possible. And so that's huge. That's a huge part of it. Now, where it all went wrong, when you start to hire your friends, okay? And his mistake was to sit there and say, I got rid of Jim Caldwell, who I thought he should have, but I got rid of Jim Caldwell because 9-7 wasn't good enough. But apparently winning 9 games in 2 years was just fine. If he would have fired Matt Patricia after the second year, I'm 100% sure that Quinn would have still been here if he would have did that. But the fact that he held on to his friend and he doubled down on it, and then when the friendship started having a little bit of a rift, when you got your scouting department saying, hey, take Isaiah Simmons, and you got your head coach saying, hey, I want Derek Brown, and you just decide to say, you know what, you've made me look bad enough, I'm taking Jeff Okudah. There's a problem in communication, and now you just basically gave your job up for your friend. While he went back to New England for an unknown role, you're out here trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces and get a chance to do this all over again. So that's why I think it went wrong at. The fact that he set a standard and couldn't hold his own buddy to said standard. If he'd have just fired him, all he had to do was fire him. Once he got 9 total wins, if he would have fired him and said, I said it before, 9-7 isn't good enough, every fan would have been behind him. I would have hyped him up. You would have hyped him up. Ryan would have drunk at least 4 or 5 beers to give him some more hype. Anthony would have went to sleep, woke up, hyped him up, went back to sleep, and then say, you know what, damn it, in my dreams, I'm going to hype him up. But he didn't do that. He stayed fast with Matt Patricia through all the stupid, and that's what cost him his job. That's where it went wrong at.
What about you guys?
Didn't help that they hired a defensive coordinator that was just there for show. He had no balls about him. There was he was just a shadowless puppet, wasn't he? He was a puppet, and Matt Patricia's hand was up his ass, calling all the plays. Like, there wasn't an ounce of any defensive calling. Like, so he was paid to shut up, stand there with a clipboard, and let Patricia call an awful defense. Like, they were a joke of a hire, that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's another issue. You go out and get Corey Underlin and literally tell people, he won't be calling plays. Why did you bring him in? He wasn't qualified at that point. And then the sad part is, you can tell when they did allow him to call plays, because we ran way more zone than we did man coverage. And so, yeah, I mean, it's so many examples, but I love that one, Ryan, because you're right. Why bring in a defensive coordinator who couldn't get the job done, and then you're getting a third year to try to work it out? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. I want to give the chat some love. Craig Bivens says, Luke worldwide, the D in the UK. Yes, sir. One Pride 40 says, Luke, if Tracy plays well, do you re-sign him?
Yes, you have to. 100%, you have to. If you don't re-sign him, what are you doing? Right? Like, If Tracy plays well, and this is one of the things that Anthony is upset about with Crosby, if there's a level of progression there, then that means that the reason he regressed was because of Patricia. And if he now is back into progression and is playing well, then it wasn't that he's a bad player, it's that he had bad coaching. So he should be re-signed.
Yeah, what's better than no safeties? One safety. So can we re-sign him, please?
Facts. That's the truth.
Yeah. Steve O says Robert Porsche didn't get the respect he deserves. He might be a Hall of Famer if he played for another team. Craig Bivens said Jerry Ball.
I love Jerry Ball. Jerry Ball, Benny Blaze. Yeah.
Steve O also said Quinn not being able to draft in the second round really hurt him. I guess kind of accepting that maybe the first round he was good, but second rounders he really whiffed on. That was bad.
Tease Tabor. 2 words that make you shudder. Oh, what an awful pick.
I mean, even outside the first round in general, I mean, we're in 2021 here, so you're at the rookie deals, or you're meant to be getting the contracts for your 2016 class now. None of the 2016 class are left. None of the 2017 class are left. Ragnar's the only one from the 2018 class who's got a pro deal. I mean, it's just shocking.
Yeah, Decker's the only other one who stayed, isn't he? Or was that 2015?
2017.
I don't know. I can't remember which one was which, but
My
man,
bad. He's got two guys in 3 years who've made it to a pro deal.
It's not the best. It's not the best.
No.
Right. One thing I wanted to bring Luke onto, because from listening to his show, he is much higher on the Lions than I would say the average Lions fan. I'm not talking your same old Lions guys. I'm just talking your common average Lions fan who maybe listens to a bit of national media, but not too heavy into it. They're not too down on the Lions for no reason. You know, they got their own ideas about it. They're asking, you know, how many games are we winning? They might say 6 or 7 games. Luke, you think differently. So what are the 2021 Lions going to do? What's their win record going to be? What do you think is going to happen with the draftees this year?
I got them going between 8 and 10 wins. And to me, when I go through and I look at the schedule, it's about when we play, who we play. And so those two things lead me down a familiar path. And so one of the things that I do is I just look at little small things that are being put in perspective. All right. So let's just hypothetically go down the list and look at the Detroit Lions schedule. So obviously week 1, they're going to go against the 49ers. Now, the thing that we got to realize is this is a game that's going to be at our house, at home, right? And that means that the 49ers have to travel from the west coast of this country to the east coast with a 3-hour difference in mind. Keep that in mind, okay? And so now, on top of having to come here and play at 1 o'clock when they're like 3 hours mentally behind, now you're talking about them having to come here and do that without their defensive coordinator or their pass game coordinator, because most of those people that was on that staff are now in New York. And so that's the other part of it. And then you look at this part where there's no film for the 49ers to really look at to prepare for the Lions. Now, here's the most important part of it all. This is the first NFL game where fans are allowed to go back to the stadium at 100% capacity, and nobody drinks better than a Michigander, okay? These people get drunk so good that there are times that I've seen people ride bikes and hurt themselves. Like, it's just, I've seen a dude who literally was on skates, drunk, and somehow wiped himself out. Like, it's just ridiculous. And now you're telling me you get to have football back week 1 against the 49ers with a new head coach that's giving out all type of love and hope. That's a win for us. You turn back around, you high off of the win from the 49ers because everybody said they're a Super Bowl contender team. And you look at the Green Bay Packers and you're playing them on Monday Night Football in Green Bay. And it's like, yeah, this sucks, right? But I just say hypothetically because I'm under the belief that Aaron Rodgers is going to play. And so Aaron Rodgers plays, and I'm thinking to myself, well, the Lions have beaten this team before with Aaron Rodgers. And in most games that they had with Aaron Rodgers, they were close losses, like 2 points, maybe 4 points here. This is a game where I see that the tables are going to turn because we're not going to just be stuck passing all day long. We're going to run the ball. And Green Bay's run defense is questionable. Now, obviously, I think the Baltimore Ravens is going to be a loss only by virtue because we coming off that Monday night game. It's a short week. We got to play them at 1. We just take an L. But we get that time back, and we get to go on the road to play the Bears. And the Bears still not sure who's going to be the quarterback by week 4. Some people say it's going to be Fields by then. I still think it's going to be Andy Dalton. And to be honest with you, either or makes me happy. It ain't Mitchell Trubisky because he somehow seems to just keep beating us. But that's another game that I see that we can win. In fact, I got us sweeping the Bears this season. The Vikings, I got us splitting with. The Bengals, I got us beating. The Eagles, I got us beating. I got us beating the Cardinals and the Falcons. And there's 2 games that you could sprinkle in there as a possible, with that being the Rams and maybe at best we can possibly beat the Ravens because it's an earlier game. But outside of that, I see us between 8 and 10 wins. And that's because there's a lot of unknowns that they don't have. Plus, history shows new coach generally equals until you having a better record.
What do you think, man?
Well, you know me, I'm probably one of the more optimistic guys on the pod. I said that we could go between 5 or 8 wins if I'm right. Because, I mean, if you look at it, on the offense, obviously we talk about the wide receivers, but if you look at every other facet of our offense, we're average to above average. You've got to say Goff is pretty decent. You know, he's at least in the average category there, maybe the above average category. Look at running back. We've 2 potential running back ones in. Swift broke out last year. Williams, 3,000 scrimmage yards in 4 years at Green Bay. And he's, you know, had so little of the play there because of Aaron Jones, yet he still made, you know, such stats up there. So you've got 2 guys who are potentially your running back one. You've got a good guy with Jefferson behind him. Your offensive line has the potential to be top 5 in the league. Tight end, we've got a Pro Bowler. So if those wide receivers can at least get into gear and have an all right season, you've got an offense which is above average and can do damage to teams. And on the defense, it's a bit of a different story. It's more of a case of we need the players to reach their potential. We have the players, but are they going to reach the potential? And again, if they perform well, we could have a decent defense on there. The D-line's going to be completely different. Ali McNeil's going to be a game changer, as I've said already, a proper thoroughbred nose tackle who's going to create running lanes for the linebackers, for the safeties, for everyone to get at the quarterback and rush there. Levi's a disruptor. He's going to cause so many problems. And again, he's going to start getting at quarterbacks. We've got Brockers, who's the veteran leader that you need in there, who's still in his prime, you'd say, and is going to do really well for us. And if guys like Walker, if he starts to progress a bit more, if Amari does, if Okuda takes a lead, you've got potentially some very good players there who are going to keep us in games and let our offense roll. So it's a lot of what ifs, but the potential is there to get more wins than a lot of people are thinking of. I think it's quite feasible we could get up to 8 if it goes well for us. But likely, you know, if it doesn't, it could be less. But I like to think on the optimistic side. So I think we could get up to 8 quite easily.
Ryan, what about you, man?
I don't know if y'all noticed, but Vegas. So Vegas here in the States is like the big place you want to like bet and gamble and stuff, right? Vegas has the Lions, the underdog, in all 17 games. Vegas has the over and under at 5 games. If I'm a betting man, and times I am, I would bet the over 100% of the time.
Yeah, because only like 2 or 3 teams will be under that in the entire season. So that's like, you know, even if you're a bad team, you're probably going to do better than that most of the time.
See, even you get it. I don't know why Vegas don't, and they know that most people who are betting is going to hear that and hear the word Lions and think, yep, I'm taking the under. Because that's why the media is pushing that they got the second worst coach. That's why the media is pushing that they are the second worst team and got a second worst. They're going to be the first overall pick. It's because they know that people are betting, and when people get to betting and they bet with their emotions instead of betting with their brains, yeah, it's a lot of money to be lost there.
What about you, Ryan? What do you reckon the win total is going to be?
I've got a bit more optimism. I think if I remember rightly, I was the only one that said beat the 49ers when we did that preview. I think I was like the only one that think could get a win week 1, which I'm still fine. I'm still firm on that. I don't see why we can't beat, like you say, because I think we're going to line up against Jimmy G, who for me, you know, I'm not his biggest fan. Like you say, he's a game manager. They do have questions about injuries, like you say, how their new coach and stuff are going to line up. Luke, I was listening to your episode from last night, episode 80. A lot of things you were reacting to and listening to I was getting pretty heated too. I was thinking some of this.
I mean,
these first 5 games could be like, other than that run where we play most of the AFC North, these first 5 games are probably the hardest stint. And I agree, like say, I'd be happy with 2-2. I want the divisional wins. I don't care if we lose to the Ravens and the 49ers. If we can beat the Vikings and the Bears, or the Packers and the Bears, like, I'm happy, because divisional wins are where we're going to stake our pride this year. Year 1, we're looking for improvements and a bit of pride. We want to hold our own in that division. Like I say, if I remember rightly, I think I said 6-10-1 was my prediction for this season. I threw a tie in there somewhere. I can't remember who it was.
I mean, that's a random number. 6-10-1. Just to run. You know what? Today we're gonna throw a tie in there. It makes the most
Bears. I think I put a tie with the Bears because I thought Andy Dalton.
The Bears?
Yeah, I thought that's going to be one of those really low-scoring, really unappealing, crappy games that was.
Fizzle don't tell me we're gonna. Oh, we could lose to Andy Dalton and the Bears. That would be the most horrific thing.
I will say though, the one comment in your video that really upset me was you were responding to the guy, and he said that Jared Goff is a bench quarterback, and he's in the 3rd least worst starters in the league. This is a league. It's got Andy Dalton, it's got Drew Lock, it's got Sam Darnold, it's got Tyrod Taylor. All these are starting quality quarterbacks. How on earth can Jared Goff be anywhere near the bottom 3 stars in this league? Like, that guy was a moron. Like, he was just saying that to upset people, and he did it because he upset me.
I had to do that because I'm telling you, if you understood that how the fan base at times is, you understand why a lot of times I'll make things. I'll make a lot of references to the Matrix because I said, look, there's 2 sets of Lions fans. There's the red pill Lion fans and the blue pill Lion fans. And the blue pill Lions fans seem to think that that's a good thing. Nope, that's the ones who are in La La Land. You need to wake up. And so, yeah, I had to bring certain things to the attention of the people, and that was just one of those things. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, he said for the next 5 years we're going to be a dumpster fire. I'm like, 5? What?
It really got under my skin, which is the point in it. It's what they do. Like you say, people take cheap shots at Lions because we don't have the results, and we don't have the win total to manage to stick up for ourselves. We're always backed into a corner, but we'll fight this till the end. Like you say, we'll defend them till the death.
Yeah,
this is true.
Just going to show some love to the chat again. Bo Gagrius, I don't know what this was in relation to, but he said, one time I blacked out so bad I made love to my wife. She showed me pics to prove it. I don't believe it. I don't know where that came from, but I love it. There was a couple of questions which came out in the chat, so I'll throw them both out to you, and we can think about them for a little bit. One was from, I think it was SW Line, and he said, if you had to pick a Lions player to go to the Olympics, who and which event? And then just generally in the chat, we were discussing quarterbacks. So let's say the Lions are so much worse than we can think of this year. Goff is terrible. He's a wash. Let's just say it happens. We have to draft a quarterback next year. We're drafting 1 or 2, something like that. Let's say Thibodeau goes number 1 overall. We're picking at 2. You're picking a quarterback. Who are you going for? So maybe we'll go for the Olympics question first, but those are the 2 questions. And first thought, Olympics player.
I'm taking TJ for wrestling.
That's a good shout.
I didn't see that one coming, but that makes sense.
I like it.
He's got his heavyweight belt. He has a heavyweight belt. This guy is a world champion, so I'm taking him as my wrestler.
Love that. Luke, what do you recommend?
I can only take one, right?
I mean, if it's a team sport, you can take a few.
You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm Derek Barnes. I'm just sold on this guy. If I could take one, I'm taking Derek Barnes, and let me see. I don't care where we go. We can go to a damn movie for all I care. I just believe that he's gonna be good. I just think he's gonna be good. I think he looks the par. I think he's gonna be the real deal. I just do. I could be wrong, but I just do.
But what event are you gonna put him in? Come on.
What event would I put him in?
Yeah.
See, because he a pretty little stocky dude. Let me see.
I mean, he can't do pommel horse or something, or parallel bars, or
I know, like I feel like if I had to put him in one, I feel like I would put him in the shot put. I feel like if he can lift and body press those big like offensive linemen, I feel like he could just give it his all, just give it all in the shoulders from the core on out. I can see shot put. I'm giving him the shot put. That's what I'm going with. You're making it hard on me because in my head I want to say like something really crazy, but I'm like that ain't gonna be realistic because he ain't finna win that event. But that shot put, I think he can pull it off.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to take Melifonwu, and because it does long legs and arms, I can't decide whether I'm going to go pole vault or high jump because I feel like he's got that explosiveness. Like he's got those long range limbs. Like he's going to be able to bounce and get over a pole, surely.
Is it cheating to say Darren Fells in basketball because he actually plays basketball? That's cheating.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
obviously you can't really do that. That's like that's
cheating. Okay,
give me something difficult.
I'd go for Ragnow and discus. I like that.
Discus?
Yeah.
You know what? Since we gonna lie to the people, we might as well go all the way full out lie. I'm going to take McNeil to do figure skating. That's how I'm feeling right now. If we just gonna lie, let's go ahead and just lie. Tell the whole truth and just lie. We got him as a figure skater. We're gonna make Jared Goff. Let me see. I feel like Jared Goff at this point because he already played baseball for real. So we're gonna say, let me see, what can he do? He's cycling. I feel like if you've seen Jared Goff, he'd be a guy with a nice helmet cycling across the countryside. So we're gonna get him cycling.
Yeah, I can see it. Okay. Let's go for quarterbacks. I'm on the Malik Willis train. I just think that projecting this time next year, I think he'll progress a lot this season. I wouldn't take him right now. I wouldn't have drafted him in the year just gone by. But I think there's a lot of room there. I think he's maybe got the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the draft. He's just got to reach it. It's going to take a big effort on his part, but I think he can do it. Ryan, what do you reckon, man?
Did you say we're picking at 2? Like, are we picking in the top 5?
We're picking at 2, and Thibodeau has gone at 1.
Right. Well, I agree. Like you say, this is probably going to upset a lot of people. But Malik Willis, like he is a fantastic dual threat. Like you say, nearly 1,000 yards rushing last year in a Liberty offense that's super explosive. Like you say, he's raw. He's a bit of Trey Lance. Like there's a bit of accuracy, but what he can do when he tucks with the ball and he runs and takes off, like. He could literally be his carbon copy. I think depending on what he does this year, he could secure a top 5 pick. So I have an outsider. I have a pick for quarterback, but I don't know what round he'll go. So I'm not going too wild with my picks. So I'll settle for him.
All right. Ant.
I don't know. I want us to hold on for Uiagalelei in 2 years. I don't want to go next year. I'm not.
No, that's not
some of the guys.
That's not the scenario, man. We need to pick a quarterback now.
All right.
Goff is gone.
Okay.
Pick a quarterback. Go.
Desmond Ridder.
Ooh.
I want if he has a good year at Cincinnati, I really like Desmond Ridder, and I hope he has a good year and he's up there because I do really like him. But I would prefer to hang on another year.
He shouldn't have waited this year. I think he should have gone this year, but. He wanted to get a woman last year, so which is fair play.
I think it's a weaker class this year, so he might get better. I think chances are he might be able to go a bit higher, especially if he has a good year. But I'd love to see him here if we are going to go next year.
What about you, Luke?
Yeah, I definitely ain't gonna go sideways because the way you just got at Anthony, I don't want to be a part of that, so I don't want none of that smoke. I'm going to stick with Howell. I think when it comes to the off-scripted plays, Howell just seems to do it. I've seen him make some passes that I'm like, dude, that's across the body on a dime to who? The real issue for me is going to be how does he do that with the loss of talent that he had? He lost a lot of people this year. He lost those running backs. He lost the receivers. He lost a lot of people. And so, I think Rattler is the one that people was talking about, but for me, I think I would go Howell just because with Howell, you're allowing him to sit, obviously, because you got at least 2 more years with Goff. So, but I would go Howell. But man, that sucks. I don't see us being number 2.
No, I don't see us being number 2 either. But it's just interesting Interesting scenario. You already kind of talked about coming to the UK for a game, so I don't need to ask that one. Of all of the players currently in the NFL, who would you like to see suit up for the Lions? Let's talk semi-realistic guys.
Semi-realistic.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be like a
okay.
free agent right now, but like someone you think would actually come to the Lions, maybe.
Honestly, okay. So I've been spying on a few people, right? Like I just been kind of spying on a few people. Somebody who I would love to see come to the Lions, and I think it's very possible. Could be wrong, but I think it's very possible. I would love for us to somehow, some way, just get Taylor Rapp. I think that the Rams is running short. I know they like Taylor Rapp, but I feel like their patience is running short with Taylor Rapp, and I think it's because they're not using him right. And I would love for any way possible for us to get Taylor Rapp. If Brad Holmes can call them up and dupe them again, and now we get Taylor Rapp with Tracy Walker, that's two rangy safeties, I would be living in my best life. But that to me is a player that I really would love. And then the only other player outside of him that I would 100% love, which I'm not sure if we have a shot at him, but if there ever was a chance that I would still take him. And I don't care how old he is right now, it's Dante Hightower. Because if you're still playing that 3-4 outside thing, and now you're telling me that Hightower just get to be unleashed from the outside, I'll take that production. And you probably can get him in free agency.
Yeah, I hear that. Ant, what about you, man? Who would you like to take? Good.
This pains me to say it, but I'd take Jair Alexander in a heartbeat. Safety from Green Bay. He's amazing. He's an absolutely top class guy. He's got to be one of the best safeties in the league for years to come. I'd snap a hand off to get him from Green Bay.
Rams house to hands off Taylor Rapp. I'm just if I can find a way to dupe them, I'm calling them up. I'm just saying.
If anyone can do it to the Rams, we can. So
right. I mean, just saying, putting it out there. I love me some Taylor Rapp, man. I think he showed a lot, and it's a reason why they was willing to let some of the safeties go. It says no more slow linebackers, Luke. I'm not worried about the speed with him. He got a different skill set. It's just a different skill set. But I get your point. But he said be realistic. And realistically, I think this is his last year in New England. So just saying.
Yeah, I hear you. Ryan, what about you, man?
There must be something in the water because I'm going safety too. And I think when Jesse Bates gets sick of being in Cincinnati, when Zach Taylor ends up getting sacked, we've got the draft capital. He'll want paying soon. He'll have a year or two left. He is the most underrated safety in all of football. Like, he is probably a top 10 guy that gets no love. Like, he's the same quality as Justin Simmons. He's going to be going to payday soon. I think he's going to struggle. Cincinnati might not want to give him it, like I say, because they're going to have to work on some O-line, some issues. I think if he tests the market and we've got the cap space, he'd be fantastic in Detroit. I think it could be a possible upgrade, like I say. He's going to get fed up of being in the Bengals pretty quickly, I think.
And I've been told.
Yeah, he's a corner. I know.
Yeah,
he's a corner. I was a little too passionate about that one.
Okay, never mind that. You're getting some hate because it's not realistic. They're asking you to pick again.
All right. Well, give me a few. Realistic, Christ.
Okay. You think about it. I'll give mine. So mine is actually a free agent right now. I don't care about his injury history. He's not going to ask for a big wage. Malik Hooker. I'm sorry. Even injured, he's still better than our second best safety. I don't care if he's got one leg. Get him on the field.
Trey Boston. How did I said in the group chat about 6 weeks ago, why is Trey Boston still a free agent? He's one of the most experienced safeties in the league. He's only like 29. You don't want a lot of money. And like I say, no one's bringing him in for visits. He gets you a few interceptions every year. He's a tackle machine. We should sign him tomorrow. And Hooker, Like, why are these safeties still on the market? Like, it's just weird.
Boston has been very inconsistent over the last few seasons, and that's where the problems come in at. He'll have a game where he'll get you 1 or 2 interceptions and a bunch of tackles, and you be like, oh my God, he's lights out. And then the next game, he's Casper the Friendly Ghost, and you're trying to figure out who in the hell got him, what's the Ghostbuster name that trapped him, and why won't you unleash him? So he's too inconsistent. Malik Hooker, yes, he has an injury history, but again, he could come cheap, and he does fit that mantra of, nobody believes in you, but we do. And so Kenny Vaccaro is another guy in free agency that I would love to add, because I think he would be a very good fit to go along with Tracy Walker, and still would have that same mentorship that was passed off to Tracy Walker from Glover Quinn, and passed off to Quandre Diggs from Glover Quinn. So I think you look at those different dynamics, and yes, those are all possibilities. But Trey Boston is just too inconsistent. That's the problem.
If we don't have to draft a quarterback next year, and if we could move back a few places, imagine if we took Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. Oh God,
that would be shocking.
That would be shocking, but I would love that. Shocking. That would upset a lot of people, and I would love it. I would drink all their tears up. Like, yes.
I'm praying to God that the Raiders get ridiculous, because they drafted a lot of safeties this year, and I'm hoping they get stupid and release Diablo. Because if that happens after they draft him, then it gives us a chance to add him, and I know he'll stick here. So
you liked Diablo, both of you, didn't you?
I did him in the pre-draft. They had the build-up shot Divan Diablo, like great hybrid safety linebacker. Yep. Trevor Morig, like I wanted him like. They took all the safeties, the greedy sods.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny though? I love how we all went in the direction of a safety, and that lets you know that that us as fans and commentators of the Lions, that we are being objective. We understand where the weakness is at. The secondary is going to be questioned, especially the safety position, because once you go Tracy Walker, then it's like who? Right, you get the Star-Lord treatment. Man, Star-Lord, who? That treatment. So to me, I'm just under the belief that if a safety comes available of any sort, boom. I've had people ask me why not take Thomas. Thomas is not really focused on football no more, and the off-field issues don't align with the idea of a deterred talk. So. I'm just saying. It says no, Luke. We can always get the safety from Notre Dame this draft. I don't think we can. I just don't. You talking about us having to be in the top 10 to? Well, I don't know. Maybe you might be right. Top 10 to 15, he might be able to fall there. Might be able to.
All right, and you've had long enough. Make your pick.
Fine. I'm gonna go for a guy who I wanted last year, who's still this year. I'd go for Xavier Rhodes. I still think we need a senior cornerback here. He's only getting 1-year deals with the Colts. I think they're only paying him £2.5 million, and I think he's worth dollars. I think he's worth a lot more than that. And I was hoping we'd go for him this year. He's only got another 1-year deal again. So if we're going to go back, then I'd say I want to go there, because I think we've got the cornerbacks of the future, and I want a guy, a veteran like him, who's still at a high level, still in there, because obviously we're not sure about Dunbar and Elder yet. So Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about Elder, because Mike Ford is beating him right now, and we know what Mike Ford is, who's a kind of reliable guy who's going to come in with no expectation, do okay. If Corn Elder's behind him, that's not a good sign for Corn Elder. So I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Okay, I had one last question, and then we can just free chat for a while, but this is kind of a joke question from one of our other co-hosts, Steve, who isn't here. He said, Luke, if the current NFL coaches had a Royal Rumble wrestling match, who would win, and why? Which head coach is Dan Campbell throwing over the top rope last to win?
If he's going to have to throw anyone over the top rope to win, it's going to have to be Mike Tomlin. I feel like unless I'll give you a wild card. Ron Rivera, like he might be able to do it, but I think he's up there a little bit in the age group. But I think Mike Tomlin is the one he's going to have to find a way to beat, and he's going to have to find a way to get over the top rope. At least from my understanding, he's probably one of the more in shape people. But I can see that being the case where it's going to be over real quick. I think Dan Campbell might have some problems with a few people in the camp who I think will literally fight you for real and not think nothing about it. Like McDermott will fight for real. I feel like he will fight you for real. But I'm going Mike Tomlin on this. He wants to get Mike Tomlin over the ropes.
I can just see the Big Show Andy Reid in there. That's what I can see.
Oh no! Andy Reid's gonna be more like the guy on the outside who's hyping the player, like, yeah, he could do it. You know, he's the hype man for him. Andy Reid gets in the ring and it's gonna be real. I mean, dude, that's not gonna go over well at all. It's not.
What about you guys?
Vrabel. Wow.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Vrabel looks tough. Like he's a mean looking dude.
Them usually be the sweet ones. Mike Vrabel to me like a guy he wouldn't fight you. Like he'll shoot you. It's like you know, if he had to get into a fist fight or pull a knife, he's gonna pull a weapon. That's how I feel about Vrabel. You know, certain people have that look of like, oh, I'll fight you. But Vrabel, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like he's more of a hunter. Like he's more like, yeah, I'd rather hunt you. I'm not trying to fight. So, but that's a good one though. I can see it.
What about you, Ant? What do you reckon?
Mine was going to be Vrabel as well, and weirdly enough, they had this exact same discussion on Pat McAfee's show. They were saying if there was a Royal Rumble between the coaches, and he picked out Vrabel. He said he wouldn't want to fight him any day of the week, so it's probably going to be Vrabel for me.
Okay, in the chat they have said Vrabel mainly, but someone's come in Predator Kingdom. He said Robert Sala looks like a UFC fighter. I can get behind that. I can see that.
I feel like if Nick Sirianni gave you the stare, then you'd almost be scared to jumping out the ring. So, you know, maybe if you get psychology involved.
Nick Sirianni, who's that? I don't care.
The Eagle.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's the the way he lined that up, and I fell right into it. He's like, yeah, Nick's around, and I'm getting ready to answer. He's like, yeah, I just don't care. I don't care. Thank you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think he's doing anything either. I don't think he'll bust a grape in a fruit fight. I just don't see it.
He will not be a head coach long.
Brian Flores looks like he could be in pretty good shape. Like he might be a good all-rounder.
Predator Kingdoms also said Cliff Kingsbury as well. I don't see that. I don't see it.
He'll poke you in the eyes and low blow you. He's a little now.
If you switch this whole thing and you say, if you were having who's going to be able to talk the best talk like wrestling edition, now you could put Cliff Kingsbury in there. You could probably even put Dan Campbell in there. You could put John Gruden in there. You know, now you can get those guys who can talk a good talk. But the actual throw a fist, there's only a few people I think will throw a fist. And since we know Jim Schwartz is one of them, but he's not a head coach, we can't use him. But yeah, I think there's a few guys who I think as a head coach will do it. I think Pete Carroll will throw a fist. I just think once he do it, he'll press charges on you. So
well, the thing is, Pete Carroll, you can see him on the field like matching up with some of his receivers and cornerbacks and tackling them. Like that, the dude can run, and he's got physicality.
Too. He's old.
He's old. But it's just luring you into a full sense of security, and then he's going to beat your ass, and you'd be like, "What happened?" He's like, "I'm Pete fucking Carroll." So,
I forgot all about Brian Flores. I forgot all about that guy.
I reckon Frank Reich could have been a fighter back in the day.
Oh yes, hell yes, yes. I feel like he eat his liver uncooked, like just like no, nothing but some salt and some pepper. He's like, anybody else hungry? I just feel like, yeah, he could have been it. David Rodriguez be on Luke channel after the game, and we'll see. Oh, let's see. It said Bat Golf gets scared of Bosa again and throw three. Bosa's supposed to be suspended for a couple of games, so I don't know why that would be the thing. But last time I checked, I heard that Bosa's supposed to be getting suspended. I'll double check to see if it's still happening.
I think the San Francisco game is just going to be super close. I don't want to call it, because if I looked at the two rosters and I asked to pick, I mean, I'm going to pick San Francisco because their roster is absolutely loaded, but a lot of them are coming off injuries. Their head coach is an absolute offensive master. That's cool. Jimmy G, not the best. Fine. It's in San Francisco, right? So, was it in San Francisco?
Poorly.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't draft the very best. But, that's a tough one to call. But I don't think it's going to be a mauling either way. I don't think we're going to beat them really badly. I don't think they're going to beat us really badly. So, if you have any questions in the chat, get them in, and we'll talk about them. Otherwise, we'll end this in a bit. So, Luke, any questions that you had for us? Maybe I know that we're obviously going to come on the channel at some point soon, but
listen, obviously we're gonna get you over there and talk some ball, obviously. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was curious about is in the UK, because obviously I know you guys are definitely searching and trying to find news and things like that. But do you feel like the UK has the same media as the States do, where it seems to be a one-tone media approach when it comes to the Lions?
Ooh, I mean, I think we get most of our media from the States. I don't think we get anything from the UK whatsoever.
We don't have any.
No, absolutely none. So
really?
None.
Okay. Well, then y'all doing good. This is probably why y'all can keep some of y'all sanity, because they apparently here they can't stand it, and it's just ridiculous. And it's one of the things that I've always looked at, and I said, if you're going to have an opportunity to do something different, God, we need somebody to have a different perspective that's not from here, that hasn't been tainted by mainstream media. And I think that most Lion fans have been tainted because they subscribe to anything that Pro Football Focus say. Look, we didn't even rank, man. We didn't rank. It's like, I don't respect Pro Football Focus. Speaking of which, do y'all like Pro Football Focus?
I'm a fan of it, but the thing is, I know that it's relevant only to a point. I take it with a pinch of salt. I enjoy some of the characters that are there. I listen to the concepts. I listen to the reasons why they're saying what they're saying, and then I make my own decision. It's not gospel, but it's interesting. And I like some of the characters. I find them entertaining. So I take it for what it is, but nothing of what they say is like, and that's absolutely 100% right. But that's the same for absolutely everyone out there. If you listen to Pro Football Talk, are you going to say, oh, Chris Sims is a genius? It's like, the dude changes his quarterback picks after the draft and then says, I was right. And it's like, yeah, okay, good one. If you listen to any analyst out there, they're going to get a lot wrong as well as a lot right. And it's like, are you just lucky or are you good? Well, no one knows. At the end of the day, who's entertaining? And I enjoy listening to PFF. They're okay. So, what about you guys? Do you like PFF?
Yeah, I enjoy listening to them. I can't
stand them.
The grading, like say, I don't look at any like PFF grades. Like say, they can be manipulated and twisted to show anything you want. Like say, they're just the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's like a RAS score. Like it looks good. PFF grades are great and all that, but like you say, end of the day, it does not translate to play on the field. So I take, like say, I take everything as a pinch of salt. Like say, I don't buy into it.
It depends on how you use them. You can manipulate the stats if you want, but you can also, if you use them at face value and you're sort of very, you're both sides of your argument with them, I think that's fine. I think too many people can use them just to, buffer up one side of an argument. I think it depends on how they're used more than anything.
I think one of the biggest things for me about PFF, the greatest example I can think of is Trey Flowers for Detroit. So PFF grades him very, very highly for the Lions, who's the highest rated defensive player for the Lions last year by quite a long way. And I look at his play on the field, and I also see good play. I don't see him getting the sack totals, and that's what every Lions fan wants, is sacks, right? But sacks are unreliable as a stat, and everyone knows that. But sacks are flashy. Everyone likes sacks.
Precious.
But most Lions fans, I think, do not like Trey Flowers. Think he's an overpaid guy. Come from the Patriots. Don't like him because he's a Patriots guy and he's not getting sacks. But actually, PFF is useful for me in looking at that stat and actually thinking, maybe the consensus is wrong. Maybe they have a point on this guy. So it's not about going, everything that PFF say is gospel, but it's about thinking, where might I be wrong? I have to go and relook at this. And if you use it for that, I think it's fine.
See, my problem is I don't respect Pro Football Focus at all. They literally try to reinvent the wheel by saying, oh, if this guy caught the ball, it would have been an interception. So therefore, we're going to give him a knock on it. But it's like he didn't catch the ball, and it's not an interception. And so when things are not added into the mix, then I don't care about it. If we're going to do that, we can go through and look at some of the greats and say, oh, if they dropped the pass, if Calvin Johnson dropped this pass, or if Jerry Rice dropped this pass, or if Dan Marino wins a Super Bowl and John Elway don't. And if we're doing shoulda, woulda, couldas, and snowflakes, then let's just go and do it for everything else when it comes to sports. You know, if the Lions don't hire this head coach, are we back at the bottom again? Probably not. So, you know, and then they come up with these weird rating systems, and it's based on this weird metrics that nobody cares about, and it's just a bunch of baloney. And a lot of people do swear by it like it's the Bible, and it's like, look, this is a flawed system. And their latest little comment they had was basically the Lions is going to get the second worst coach, and that they got the second worst roster. And it's like, how did you come up with this?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the stuff where they have opinion pieces from those guys are trash. Those things are clickbaity rubbish that they kind of have to write for their website to generate subs. I think a lot of the stuff that they generate because of the stats that they've produced are not always correct, but I think if you took the average consensus mock draft and you drafted compared to the PFF board, I think PFF would do better than the average person. Whether they do as well as an NFL scout, I don't know, but I think that they're thorough to a point. You know, it's hard to say because you can't see everything that they do there, but I think that they would be successful if they were in the head coach role as an organization for a team. But I don't think it could be the best that you could do either.
Well, listen, like I said, if you ever listen to anything, you would never hear me reference
Yeah.
pro football. Yeah, I just can't do it. I'd be like, nope, this is a bunch of baloney. And a lot of NFL players don't respect it either. They just don't, because a lot of them is like, who comes up with this stuff? Or like, I forgot what, I think it was Elvin Kamara. They gave him a lower grade on a certain game because they said, and I quote, that he had a tackle for a loss, and he was like, so I get hit in the backfield and that's my fault? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, they was already back there. And so it's these little things that I see that they do that makes me want to puke. But yeah, I figure I get into that. And like I said, I got tons of questions, but since we're going to definitely have y'all come over to the field review and talk about it, I'm going to save some of those questions.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. It's going to be such good fun. Just going to have a look through the chat again. David Rodriguez, big time 49ers fan, but we love you, man. Thank you for watching. We might sack our coach week 1 if we lose to the 49ers, but I doubt it very, very much.
I feel like the tweet gun's going to have to go towards the 49ers now. I've taken shots at the Bears recently, but we may need to change direction here.
No, just keep taking shots at the Bears, please. It's too funny.
They head coach hasn't figured out. They head coach just haven't always figured out how to run the ball, and until he do that, you have nothing to worry about. You just don't.
Yeah, it's so true. Izzy777 has said he's taking a screenshot. He's going to put in the salt folder for spreading over 49ers fans' tears. I love it. BD Buster has said, so you guys, have you ever heard of the local station 97.1 The Ticket? And I know you're a big fan.
I saw them when the Lions rejigged up with them last year, and everyone was like, what are they doing hooking up with that trash radio station? That's all I saw from Lions fans everywhere. They seem to hate it.
So if you download Audacity, you can listen to 97.1 The Ticket all the time. It's a very free app, very free radio, and you can listen to it all day. The problem is there are certain personalities who are not Lions fans, who are Giants fans, who is not from Michigan, and they just simply find every excuse to talk about the Lions. There's nothing the Lions can do good that they're going to praise or anything like that, and that's where the problem come in for me. And so my issue with 97.1 the ticket is nobody over there, when it comes to football or any of the sports for the city, are willing to think outside the box. They just go with the same generic response that everybody else go. And then when the Lions start to win, they basically put a clock up that says, oh, but when is the first L coming? Let's not worry about when the first L is coming. Let's just win the games and enjoy the games that we won. And so that's where they lose me at as a fan.
Do you feel like that's a mindset amongst a lot of Detroit media? Because we seem to see that. They seem to jump on stories really quick if they're negative, and then it maybe comes out it's not as bad as they were. But they seem to be in a negative mindset, a lot of them.
And you're not allowed to speak about Carlos on this pod, okay? No Carlos talk.
I'm not naming names.
So with particularly to that particular journalist that you mentioned, his job is to be a shock jock, and then he's kind of taking it personal. It's so much easier for him to just say it. But if you just go to like 97.1 the ticket YouTube channel and just listen to some of the rants and some of the things that they say and how they go about doing things, you see it all the time where it's not a fair representation of the fan base. But what happens is they are so allowed to do it because our fan base reads it. They buy into it. They support it. And then they say stuff that irritate me, like 97.1 a ticket be like, you're number one sports station. You're the only freaking sports station we can listen to here in Michigan.
Yeah.
What do you mean number one?
Yeah, it's like we are the number one Detroit Lions podcast from the UK. We are the only podcast from the UK.
like it's just like the way they go about promoting themselves, and it is like stuff that they don't even know about. It's so generic, and people eat it up all the time, and it just disgusts me. And it's one of the reasons why when I found you guys' page, I was like, wow, they haven't been tainted by this ridiculous narrative that's been put out there. And then you guys were like really, really into what's going on. And I was like, oh, I'm in love. I fell in love instantly. And I was like, look, we shutting everything down. Let's go over here and show some love over here. And, I'm like, they in the UK and they repping the Lions. They could have liked any other team, right? And they chose the Lions, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't choose anyone else, actually, I don't think. Now I'm here, and look back, and I'm like, I wouldn't choose any other thing. People talk about the suffering that they've had over the last 20 or 30 years, and it's like, I've been a Liverpool fan since I was born. And, when I first started, they were a good team on the way down. When I started really supporting them, they started their drought. And last year, for the first time since I was a month old, they won the title. And there was nothing sweeter than having to grind your way through what I would call, I know the other guys support lower teams, so it's not really fair, but a period of drought for your team, a period of suffering for the fan base compared to what they have experienced in the past, which is similar to the Lions. The Lions' biggest team in the league in the 50s, but now, Liverpool biggest team in England, I would argue still, but in the 80s for sure, and then they were on their way down. And to actually win the title after that amount of time made it all the sweeter that you had to wait. And I know the suffering is bad and you want them to win so much that it hurts. But if you don't care about the team, it's not going to feel good when they win. So,
and that's the truth.
Ryan, are you getting this? I mean, £1 million players in Premier League football. We don't even get that, do we?
Nope.
No. So tell the guys who you support.
Oh, they'll not even know where I'm from. At least Liverpool, the brand knowledge. Mine are 5th division and have 3,000 fans. So that's all we have.
But tell the guys anyway. They might get some overseas fans.
Well, okay. Well, this with me is why I stuck with Detroit, because my team, Chesterfield, we're in the 5th division of English football. We're not even close to the Premier League. We've never even been up to the 2nd division before, not in 70 years. But you support a team and you have a lot of bad times, and it creates a bond with the other fans, the supporters. It's a very close-knit community. I know a lot of good people I've met over the years from it, and I wouldn't trade for the world. And when I kind of figured out that's what the Lions were as well, I thought it was almost fate that I'd been drawn towards this franchise as well. I understand what the bond can create, and I've met so many great Lions fans, and I wouldn't trade it. I love this, and eventually when you win, when it gets there, it makes it all worth it. It's sweeter than winning a Super Bowl every year and being a, bandwagon Patriots fan. So as soon as we win a Super Bowl, everything will be worth it.
Yeah, and people don't realize this. And as a person who has been a part of this emotional roller coaster, I remember when the Pistons used to always win. Like we wouldn't always get to the championship, but like starting off like later 80s, and they started picking it up and started winning. And then they in the 2004, when we started having more and more wins, and then you got to it, it felt so good. Oh my God, the malice in the palace was all worth it. Every punch thrown, every beer toss, it was worth it. And you go through and you look at some of these other teams, like New England Patriots fans. They're over there right now panicking. Many of them have already seeked out therapists because they're like, what are we going to do when we back to the bottom again? And they don't know what to do. Pittsburgh Steelers fans, at least they can say they've had a consistent winner, and they're just clamoring for a Super Bowl. And so a lot of times what people don't realize is when you go through something, and it's always challenging. Anytime you go through it and you got to go through the storm, or for people who say, oh, I love rainbows, you got to go through rain for it to be a rainbow. And so at that point, when you go through it and you embrace it and everything gets better, everything gets better. And that feeling, no matter what you do, no matter how old you get, it would never go away. The day we win the Super Bowl, the day we win that NFC championship game, it would never go away. And that's the same thing that happened when it came to the Eagles. They waited a long time, and when they got it, no matter what happened, you couldn't tell them. They even had Kobe Bryant. He had to put his kid down because he was going to drop her. He couldn't believe it. Oh, he's upside down.
And turn it upside down, man.
Anthony's doing his best Spider-Man impersonation. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Ryan, man, let's finish off with this because it's getting late. The guys in chat have asked why we're Lions fans, so we may as well tell the guys. I know we've done it before, but why are you a Lions fan?
I'm a Lions fan because I love an underdog. I come from an industrial city. Like when I think of Bradford, like Bradford's kind of like Detroit. Like it started off with like the mills, industrial. It made textiles. It's made materials. Like I say, it's very multicultural. And these sports, like the big thing, like we've had a big rugby team. I support Bradford City. In the early 2000s, we were in the Premier Division. And then for the last 20 years, I've had to suffer heartache and a few relegations. But as Luke said, like you say, you can't have a rainbow without the rain. When I know that when we're going to win that next NFC North title, like the last one was the NFC Central in 93, the year I was born. So I was a few months old when they last won a division. I know when I next win this division, it's going to be one of the best feelings in my life. Like no one's going to be able to take that away from me. I might be 30, I might be 35, but I don't care when it comes. Like you say, I'm not one of these people that just a fair weather fan. Like I say, I'm fine taking these years where it struggles. Like I don't care that there's not many Lions fans in the UK, or we've not reached them all out yet, because we don't have this negative stigma here. Like it's not everyone dislikes the Lions. It's no one knows who they are, and we've got an opportunity to tell everyone who they are. I loved that nasty defensive football, Sue, Averill, Tulloch. Like I've been a fan like 9-10 years. So when they're on Channel 4, we got one game a week. Back on, like say, Mike Carlson and that, we had the luxury of one game on a Sunday night. So picking a team wasn't easy. Like, and I saw one game. It happened to be the Lions. I like the color scheme. I like how they play. Like Smash Mouth. Like, they were feared. They were on the gridiron. Like I say, they were a defense team. They got in your face. They gave you problems, and like that just resonated with me. And like, just they've hooked me now. Like you say, it doesn't matter how long we're going to be bad, because I know at some point it's going to turn around. It's going to be like the best feeling ever.
How about you, Ant? Why are you a Lions
Damn,
fan?
he put a tear in my eye. That was, man, I had to literally wipe my face. Man, that's the most beautiful thing I've heard in a long time. To you toxic fans who listening right now, go back and rewind that moment. Every time you forget why you became a fan, go back and rewind that moment. Damn it, you got me crying. I told myself I wasn't going to do it today.
Oh, I can't follow that now, can I?
Yeah,
No,
well,
right?
Good luck.
Well, now mine was similar. I sort of adopted Detroit when I was younger because I just listened to Motown all the time, and I thought, any city that could make such a wonderful brand of music and that would be one that was worth sort of supporting and sort of cheerleading. So I took Detroit on really as my city from that. And I knew a little bit about the Lions then, but it wasn't until 5 or 6 years later when I really started looking at the NFL. But I'd sort of already So, well, I'll go for them. And because I'm a very loyal person when it comes to my football, I'm the same with my football team here. It's incredibly difficult to support them. There's a lot of bad times, a lot of times when I wonder what the hell I'm doing, and very few good ones. But I almost thought it's fate that I was drawn towards the franchise, which is exactly sort of the same as them. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to turn my back on them. I'm going to go for it, and you know, we'll go from there really. And I think I've been proved right because, like I say, I've met so many great people doing this. It's exactly the type of fan base you think it's going to be, and this is just really enjoyable. It's given me a new love of sport again. Really doing this, it's been wonderful. So I'm going to stick with them now to the end because I don't just fair weather on them. I understand what it's like to go through tough times, and I'll stick with them as long as it takes.
I can't take this kind of
Looked
pressure.
in a flood of tears. He's
I
wiping
can't. I just can't take this kind of pressure. I mean, damn it, I'm running out of Kleenex. I can't take the kind of pressure. Go ahead, just go. Damn it, just go. I'm listening.
So for me, I'm a bit of a history buff, and I liked Detroit before I liked Lions in terms of the motor car and Ford and the assembly lines, mass production of that sort of thing, and then Detroit being the richest city in the world in the 1950s, as I kind of mentioned before, and what's happened to it since. It's sort of just something that I saw as kind of emblematic of the United States in general. When I think of the US, I think of Detroit. I don't think of New York. I don't think of LA. It's not who the US are. I think America is emblemized by Detroit. That's what I've always thought of them. And then when I wanted to get into football, I was a big rugby player. I played second row, so that's in the pack, in the scrum. You would kind of maybe say it was O-lineman, maybe. I'm 6'4", 240, 250, so I'm undersized for an O-lineman, but for a rugby player, I'm pretty stocky, pretty big. I knew something with an oval ball. I would watch it and I would like it. I watched a few Super Bowls, started getting into it that way. And then when I came to actually picking a team, the team that I played for played in the same color of blue, so that helped. When you go on Madden, you pick a team, and it was 2009, and it defaulted to the team that had the number one player in the draft, which was Stafford. And so I just thought, well, I'll just play with this team because I don't really know what I'm doing. Start to like them through Madden and then actually get into the team and think about, what are we doing here? What is this? You see 0-16 in 2008 and you're like, this is a project I can get behind. There's no glory hunting here. No one can accuse you of doing that. I want to take a team from its lowest ebb and in your fandom see it achieve its highest moment. So I was drawn by the cars, the history of the city, by Stafford, and just by the aura of the city itself. The Motown definitely helps. There's so many facets of it which make it a great city. It may have had its down moments, but I look at it and I think, you know what, I'm proud to be a Lions fan. I still am. That's why I picked them.
You know what? It's it's funny. I've asked people before in passing, "Are you a Lions fan?" And 9 times out of 10, I hear this response. Unfortunately, and to have people who is well away from it to say, "I'm proud to be a Lions fan," and then have to still deal with a negative fan base, with negative media, with underrepresentation from that media on this franchise. That's just beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to see because most people always say to themselves, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is great. This is lovely." But what it took for that to happen, like I love olive oil, but when I realize how much work it takes to get that damn oil out that thing, it's ridiculous. And so to me, to understand and respect the process, to understand and to see this, and for me, you said something that really threw me off to where I was like, wow, that's deep. Because I think most people think America and they go, "Oh, you from New York?" Like that's the answer to it. And you thought of Detroit and the fact that this is a place that has always been about the grind and everything like that. And so to you all for sharing that beautiful piece, which I'm probably going to have to steal that and make that like some type of just a moment of what Lion fans should look like. as the example to you, I salute you all, because that is why I do what I do. I love football first, but I'm a fan of the team because I'm understand that it can't always be sunny. Sometimes you have to stay indoors because there's a thunderstorm outside. And so that's where it gets beautiful, man. So I just, hey, hats off to you gentlemen. And I can't say it enough. If you have not subscribed yet, if you have not hit that like button, I'm going to eat your dog, okay? And I'm going to do it in a very friendly way, okay? Nice and slow, like Hannibal Lecter with a nice Chianti, okay? So don't make me do this, all right? Have some fun and hit that like and subscribe button and show love. Last time I checked, we was at 106 subscribers, and I think I saw 34 thumbs up, and I think we are now at 108, almost to 110. We're trying to get to 500 and keeping it going. And you're going to get great, honest content from people who ain't tainted. They're not tainted by the negativity. You're getting honest opinions from people who's been objective and saying, this is what I see, and this is why I believe what I see. And it doesn't get no better than that.
Absolutely right, man. Thank you so much for the hype. I love it. I love it. But instead of talking about eating dogs, you like to end your podcast with a positive thought, and I thought
100%.
maybe we'd come to you for that at the end.
Well, 100%. Y'all know us, man. We got to always make sure we end every show on a good note, because without doing so, you miss out on it. And sometimes I think that good note is needed. Today's positive quote comes from the internet. I'm having a hard time finding the people who say these things, but I can tell you this much. Whoever said it was having a moment of clarity. This one says, you really don't know or need a new year or month or week to start something. You just need a new mindset. Let me bring that back a little bit. You really don't know or need a new year, month, or week to start something. All you need is a new mindset. The mindset is what's the difference here. See, people run around trying to figure out what they should be doing in life. And it's the problem. While you're sitting there worried about what you should be doing in life, look at what you're doing good already. Look at what you've already achieved. Look at where you've already went to and where you've already been to and where you are right now. When you get to that point, that you can see it in your mindset that there is no such thing as limitations. The sky is not your ceiling. The universe is open to you to do whatever it is that you need, because your mindset is already made up. That it doesn't matter the outcome. It's the journey that you are embracing. That's when you find the new mindset. I'm challenging some of you Lions fans today to find a new mindset. There's 3 gentlemen here who are from the UK. And as far as I'm concerned, we are all brothers in blood and in spirit, because the one thing I can tell you is this: they didn't need a new mindset. They already understood the journey. They didn't need to look for any type of inspiration when it came to negative approaches towards them. The negativity bounced off of them because they was already too set in their mindset that there's greatness coming. I'm challenging you, Pride Nation, to find your new mindset, to find your new voice, to find your new heart, to find your new spirit, and make it somehow not only become your own, but become a contagion that passes on from one person to the next. Because when you do that, it is at that time that you are truly living. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rocking with me, and thank you for rocking with Mr. Roar of the Lions UK. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you all for coming here, subscribing. Y'all got them to 100, I believe 109. I think it's 109 right
109,
now.
109, yeah.
And counting. That's because you guys rock. So take your lap, pat yourself on the back, and celebrate yourself right now, because you are the real MVP. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.
Oh, thank you so much, Luke, for coming on. You are an absolute joy. I would run through a wall for you. Can you be our head coach after Dan? That would be so cool.
Listen, if they make me the head coach, you're going to see all kinds of strange things happen. You might actually get that lion. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Oh, that would be so sweet. Just to let you guys know what our next episodes are going to be on Saturday, this coming Saturday, we are going to do rookie tape review once again. So 2 more players for you. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ife Melifon with 2 third-round picks. We're going to have Ryan going through that along with me, hopefully at 2 on Saturday. We might have a guest interview as well if we're lucky, or maybe we'll appear on Luke's channel this week, but we need to work that out. Next week, we normally do a Tuesday pod, but we'll maybe do Monday or Wednesday. We're going to start our analysis of the 2022 draft class for the Lions, have a look at where we might pick players that we're going to be looking at in the college season. For our social media, you sub to the channel. You guys watching live, thank you so much for doing that. But for those of you listening on the audio or on Twitch, or if you're on YouTube or whatever, you can add us on Roar of the Lions UK on YouTube and on Facebook. That's the page. The group is Detroit Lions Fans UK, One Pride Worldwide. Twitch is ROTL_UK, so is Twitter, Instagram, ROTL.UK, and we've got blog articles talking about our draft picks, talking about the games and what have you, RoarOfTheLionsUK.com. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, send us questions, email address, whatever you want, we're here for you guys. Thank you so much again to Luke G for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure. To Ant, to Ryan, thank you so much for being here. I'm Matthew Turner. We'll see you later on in the week. Let's go, Lions. One Pride.
One pride.